Good morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the Church of Doom. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday morning. I'm having a great one. I yesterday had a very fun session from my D&D campaign. Actually, just in today's morning ritual that went up on the Patreon blog, did a recap of the session, which I guess I'll show that off real fast because it was just really cool. Oh, this is actually my Wednesday campaign I'm running tonight. You can see I've got the map of the Wretched Tropics we've been prepping for a while. That's the little boat where my players landed. Don't mind these notes if you're one of my characters. Ignore those. But this is the little map that I had us do last week. I did not have minis ready quite yet. So we were just doing sort of a pseudo theater of the mind with just text titles for the characters. But I want to show you just real quick because I think it's so cool. I want to show you what I had prepped for my players last night. Hell yeah. Okay. So what I've been doing is for my characters, I've just started taking cool images from online, and some of these are just like the straight up images just right from the internet. Other ones I sort of merge some images together to make just black and white really cool character pawns, because before I'd been doing minis, I'd take like a picture of a miniature and just turn it into a PNG, which was cool, and I enjoyed doing that. But I wanted a little more detail. And last night, the party, or I guess I'll come back up to the map. So they were in the Undying Crossroads, which was a sort of a merchant congregation, people who worship the Raven Queen. They're all merchants, and they believe they need to make as much tithing as possible so that when they die, they can pay the Raven Queen to take their souls to the heavens. And the leader of that community is named Ismark Moonscabbard. He's Ismark Moonscabbard the 14th. And his family, he doesn't even really know this because he doesn't really care about his family's history. He only cares about money. But his family were werewolf hunters, and their crypts were in the very top of the Spire Point 37, which the party had learned had some Fey shenanigans going on up there. So they are trying to reach the top of the crypts to put an end to that. And on the way, they learned a couple things about the crypts. One was, and the coolest thing that I'll tell you right now that has to do with this image on the map, the crypts, the Moonscabbard crypts, were protected by an order of Raven Queen knights who had sort of sworn an oath to the family to look after their remains as reverence to the kind of patron god shared between these two groups. Well, with this Fey magic that has been infesting its way through the crypts, it started to turn and mutate these knights who wear, I actually have a mini I can show you of what they are. Oh, geez, if you're one of my players, do not look at what I just revealed. That was an accident. So this is what the knights normally look like. Again, just a cool image I found on Pinterest. Then I found this weird image, and I thought, oh, what if part of their Fey infection is that it caused them to like swell in size and become like literally raven-like, and they burst out of their armor with this big giant beak and these claws. And so the party ended up in this fight in this sort of a shrine meditation room that had these moon-shaped braziers set into the wall, but these creatures had started nesting in them, and so the party had this fight where they had to try and climb up into these brazier nests to reach these things. But I also gave them a really cool ability. I basically just merged them with a banshee, so they have these big claws that can rend through things, but then they can open their beaks and release this screeching wail that just out of the Banshee stat block in the new Monster Manual, they can use it once per day. Everybody makes a save. You take some psychic damage regardless of if you pass or fail. But if you fail and you have 25 HP or lower, you drop to 0. And that's what happened to poor little Zildjian, our gnome here. And also Angelo, the party's bard. So there's a bunch of crazy stuff that's going to start at the start of next session. That's where we left things. It was really, really fun. But anyways, that was just a random little side tangent. That's not what we're here to do today, though. We're here today to check out Daggerheart, right? I was very generously super chatted $60 by, oh my gosh, I'm wanting to say Nick because I'm thinking of the player in last night's session. Kevin, by Kevin, so generous. Hit me up with $60 so that I could go get the new Daggerheart system. I went down to my friendly local game store with a big smile on my face, and I said, I'll take the new Daggerheart rules, please. And he said, you're an idiot. They aren't actually out yet, the physical books. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. I thought they were. I guild associated, which I think is like the term for the partner stores with Critical Role, only they have the books. I'm not sure. But none of the stores near me had it, so I ordered it online from the Critical Role shop. And what was nice about that is it came with the PDF too. So that's what we're going to skim through today, and I'm very, very excited because Daggerheart, I've only heard basically good things about it. I think it's going to be sweet. So before we dive into that, I'm going to say what's up to people in chat, and then I have one other little announcement to share with y'all. Good morning, Samael. Good to see you. Hopefully you're going to have a better attitude today, Samael. Not such a negative Nelly about things, huh? What's up, Alex Wants Beans? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a little while, and you are a member of the church. Good to see that little member icon there. What's up, Pedro? Good morning. Hoo-yah. Noble Knight. Good day, my lord, to you. Humble Jillipot. Hey. Do you stream often? I do stream pretty often. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, although every other week on Friday, I'm thinking I'm either going to move the stream later in the day or just depending on how busy the day is, I might not be able to stream because every other Friday, ya boys got therapy. I'm going to my therapist. I'm getting fixed up in the head. So that sort of messed with the schedule that I don't know why I didn't think about that when I started doing the streams. But yeah, three days a week. And sometimes we do a bonus stream. Speaking of which, today there's a super chat goal. If we get at least 5 super chats, we will take a Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Trivialathon, the Arcane Challenge quiz. This is from 1996, and it is from the Dragon Magazine issue 227, which is cool for 2 reasons. One, it came with this really awesome quiz, which has questions like, what type of animal is most often found guarding a gnome's lair? What is the percentage chance to burn through a rope with a candle? I just cast a spell at my enemy, who was then pelted with red flowers. Where am I? All sorts of weird, bizarre questions. So that's really cool. If we get at least 5 super chats, we'll do a little bonus stream and we'll do this quiz. The other reason it's cool, though, from this magazine is it has an article in it written by my dad, Grandfather Doom. Let me see. Where is it in this issue? I know it's... Give me a sec. It was written the year after I was born. I was born in 1995. This was published in 1996. Where the heck is it? I've read it like twice. Oh, maybe it was at the beginning. Yes, here it is. Okay. The article is Making Dungeons is Half the Game by Matthew Guss. That's my old man. And it even has some comics that he drew up. Let me get that a little closer so you can sort of see. But that's cool. I think I'll put some images of this up on a Patreon post maybe after we take that quiz. So, if you want to do that, best way to do it, well, the only way to do it is give a little tithing the church's way. That'd be much appreciated. But anyways, what's up, Kenneth? Good to see you in here, too. Kenneth, Samael saying, 1, I wasn't negative. I was inquisitive. 2, my day has been miserable as I'm... Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness. Well, that's no bueno. Yeah, Samael, I will be super on edge with you, I suppose. Yikes, my guy. Well, I'm glad you're here with us, hanging out with us right now. Anywho, what do you say we take a look at Daggerheart, which I wasn't even Wait, was I not showing any of the fucking shit that I thought I was showing? God damn it. I don't think I was showing any of it. Was I not showing any of it? Did you guys not even get to see any of the Owlbear Rodeo stuff that I thought I was showing? That would be so embarrassing. I thought I was. Ridiculous. Does any of this look familiar? Could someone... Hey, what's up? It is not. That was a confusing username in the moment. Does it look familiar to anybody? It is not. Oh, shit. But hey, good to see you. Anywho, if you didn't see it before, this is what the Squawking Knight looked like that the party fought that I was really excitedly telling you all about that you probably didn't even see. Hopefully you did. Let's move on. Oh, god damn it. Humble Gallipot says, it was your face the whole time. I am terrible at this. I'm so bad. Humble Gallipot asked, do you stream often? I do stream often, but not often enough to apparently remember to switch cameras. Okay. Well, this is what I was trying to show off. This freaky bird thing, climbing up into these moon scabbard nests. This is what the knights originally looked like before they mutated into this thing. And, this is what all the characters look like right now with the new minis. God damn it. I am so bad at this. So bad. But now you get to see it again. Yeah, roll for perception, Pedro. I don't even think I could get my way out of that one. Thanks, Alex Wants Beans. It does look awesome now that you can actually see it. But let's talk about Daggerheart. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about today, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. No more rambling, no more stalling, no more waffling. Let's get into it. So we already talked about the cover art the other day in our previous stream. Some things about it I like, some things about it I don't like. I like this weird giant insect dragon thing. I like this blue tiefling, who to me looks like a shout out to Jester. I like this Warforged dude with his sort of sci-fi vibes with his staff and his arms or whatever. I really don't like this like big elf face like that is just really flat. There's like nothing very, I don't know, just a super, super flat art style compared to kind of everything else on here that is like smack dab right there under the name is a little bizarre. And someone else pointed out that they're just like all floating images that don't really tell you a whole lot about the game necessarily, which I agree with, but this isn't a stream to hate on Daggerheart. I'm excited about Daggerheart. I'm just pointing out a critique of the art. Anywho, the Daggerheart core rulebook has 363 pages. Well, that's where the last section starts, but it's 363 pages. I cannot wait to get my actual physical copy of it, but the PDF will do just fine. Oh, let me close Owlbear so it's not slowing me down a little bit. Okay, so what I'm wanting to do today, this isn't like we're going to read through every single page. I do think it would be nice to skim through the whole thing. Mostly what I want to do here, though, is find the coolest things, like just find things that I'm like, whoa, that's really different. That's really cool. I like that. That's an interesting mechanic or whatever. And B, I want to, if you guys have specific questions about things or if there are areas of the book you want to learn more about, then drop it in the chat and we can check it out and go see what it looks like. Hey, what's up, Lord Lost? I can say from experience they are spooky. Oh, yes you can. Yes you can. You were in that campaign. Noble Knights, the worst thing about the cover art is that it looks like a Marvel movie poster, but yeah, it does look like a Marvel movie poster, doesn't it? It definitely does. I like how this Banshee thing is like just floating in the middle of nowhere. It's like, does it have something to do with the collapsing building? Is it an ally of this giant insect dragon lady? Is this demon lady? You know what? At first I thought that this lady was riding this giant insect dragon, and now I realize she's not. She's just like layered over it, so another weird little thing with the cover. But anywho, what are our sections? We should definitely just read through the whole introduction, I think. Welcome to Daggerheart, using the book. What do you need to put? Well, maybe we don't need to read through all of that, but at least welcome to Daggerheart. We got Chapter 1, Prepare for Adventure, World Overview, Character Creation, Example Characters, Domains, Classes, Ancestry. Okay, that's an area, that's a section I'll definitely want to look in a bit of detail, because I don't know anything about the mechanics of Daggerheart. I haven't looked at a single class. I don't know how they work. I don't know how they're different from 5e or anything else, so I'm excited to see that. Chapter 2 is Playing an Adventure, so the flow of the game, core mechanics. Okay, core mechanics, I bet that'll be one where we kind of pick and choose. What do we want to look at and what do we not want to, right? So, like the spotlight, that's very interesting that they start with the spotlight. I am guessing that's sort of like talking about moving the spotlight from player to player. If that's what it is and that's what they start with, I love that. That would be so great if that was the emphasis of the rule book and the game of like, hey, the point of this game is to make sure everybody has fun. But then I'll definitely want to check out duality dice, evasion, stress. I want to look into that. Story as consequence. That sounds interesting. The domain cards. Want to see that. So a couple things in there we'll for sure check out. Chapter 3 is Running an Adventure. So you got the introduction, core guidance, core GM mechanics. Okay. Which ones are in there? What do we want to check out? Making GM rolls, calling for action rolls, making moves, fear. That's one I'll want to look at. Setting roll difficulty, giving advantage, disadvantage, adversary rolls. Probably want to check out adversary rolls. Countdowns. Ooh, they have timer mechanics in here? Fuck yeah. Then Chapter 4, adversaries and environments. You got using adversaries, choosing adversaries, adversary stat blocks, using environments, environment stat blocks. I'll probably honestly want to just check out all of that. And then Chapter 5, campaign frames. Oh, the settings. The settings. We'll check out probably all of those too. We'll skim through those a little bit. Let's see. What's up, Foxtrot? Fun name to see in the chat. Somebody else. I like the evil red lady. See, I am positive when I want to be. That's so true. Let's look at the core mechanics, Foxtrot. You got it. We will get to that so soon. I first want to at least check out the introduction. I think it's important. Let's give the book the respect it deserves. Let's read their opening introduction and see what they have to say, right? Oh, Humble Gallipot said, I'm mainly interested in domains. We'll get there. Stick around or come back and watch the VOD. We're going to hit all this stuff. Hey, Christian, welcome into the chat. Good to see you, dude. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, I'm going to read this for us all. Introduction. Welcome to Daggerheart. Daggerheart is a collaborative fantasy role-playing game of incredible magic and heroic adventure. During your journeys, you may find yourself rubbing elbows with nobles to investigate and stop an assassination plot, delving into an ancient dungeon to prevent an apocalyptic creature from breaking free, sailing across a vast ocean to face a terrifying sea monster, or preventing a precious relic from falling into the hands of a dangerous enemy. No matter the adventure your party embarks upon, Daggerheart provides the tools to tell a story that is both heartfelt and epic. Very cool. I think it's interesting that when they start with their examples, the first one they give is a political intrigue, roleplay heavy one. Not starting with prevent an apocalyptic creature from breaking free. That's kind of cool that they start that way. Oh, do we really know? Okay. What is a tabletop role-playing game? Maybe we don't need to actually read all this. Let's read this one. What kind of role-playing game is Daggerheart? We know what an RPG is, but Daggerheart is a heroic, narrative-focused experience that features combat as a prominent aspect of play. The system facilitates emotionally engaging, player-driven stories punctuated by exciting battles and harrowing challenges. Okay, so, well, I'll give my observations after we read it. The game takes a fiction-first approach, encouraging players and GMs to act in good faith with one another and focus on the story they're telling rather than the complexity of the mechanics. Very nice. The rules provide structure when it's unclear how actions or movements will resolve within the story. The system takes a free-flowing approach to combat to avoid slowing the game down with granular rounds. Oh, well, let me read that again. The system takes a free-flowing approach to combat to avoid slowing the game down with granular rounds, and it doesn't rely on grid-based movement for maps and minis. Yes! Interested what a free-flowing approach means. These aspects coalesce to create a game that allows for the terrain and map building that miniature-based systems are known for, while facilitating a streamlined narrative experience for players. Well, color me intrigued. That sounds right up my alley of what I want, and I'm curious to see how they intend on delivering it. Let's keep reading. If you're looking for a TTRPG that tells heroic fantasy stories with a modern approach to mechanics, focusing on both epic battles and the emotional narrative of the characters who fight in them, what Critical Role is honestly known for, you've come to the right place. Daggerheart also utilizes an asymmetrical design, meaning that it plays differently for the GM than it does for the players. What? I'm sorry, what? Well, let's learn more about that. Players roll two 12-sided dice for their PC's standard actions, including their attacks. The GM can make most moves without dice, but they roll a 20-sided dice for adversary moves and requires a roll. This asymmetrical design is intended to help all participants contribute to a memorable experience for everyone at the table. I did not know that. I assumed that everyone would be rolling the D12s, which is really ironic now because previously I'd said I like my D20 rolls. I want to roll the D20. And now I'm being told, well, hey, don't worry, bud. Hey, you get to roll your D20. If you're the GM, you still get to do that. And I'm feeling inside well, I kind of want to roll the D12s, though. Well, I don't want to be the only one rolling a D20. What if I want to roll a D12? So they got me. They got me good. Okay, last little section here. Heart of the game. In Daggerheart, if you and your fellow players all take turns In Daggerheart, you and your fellow players all take turns describing what your characters do. The GM determines the consequences of those actions, then guides the group into collaboratively evolving the narrative because of those consequences. Okay, what we all have come to expect. When the rules call for it, or when a situation demands, you'll roll the dice to inform what happens next. Depending on the result of the roll, the events of the ongoing story will unfold in a new and unexpected way. There is no winning or losing in Daggerheart in the traditional gaming sense. The game is a collaborative storytelling experience where the goal is to play out an incredible story together. Even if the characters fail to achieve their goals right away, making big mistakes or even die, they never lose. Amen to that. If a character dies, the party can look for a way to bring them back to life, or that player can make a new character for the party to meet along their journey. If the group fails to stop the villain from enacting a terrible plan, they might face the consequences of that failure and try to make it right. If they succeed, they may triumphantly win the day, or they might anger or embolden an even stronger enemy who retaliates. Nice. No matter what happens during the story, as long as you're working together to craft a narrative that is fun and exciting to everyone, you've already won. Aww, Daggerheart, that's so sweet. Okay, well, I really want to know more about this. It works differently for the GM than it does for the players. That sounds cool. Okay, some fun little art of an old dwarf or maybe an old halfling. I mean, they've got a beard, so probably a dwarf. Actually, it looks like maybe a female dwarf. That's cool. In a big old fight getting healed by an orc. Uh, let's see. Well, let's scroll up. What do we want to go to next? So we've got a sense of what is Daggerheart all about. I don't think we need to read using the book. Why do you need to play? Player principles, table for all. Nah, we don't need to read any of that. We already get all that. Chapter 1, preparing for adventure. So we got world overview, character creation, example character. Should we just dive into the world overview? I say we just kind of go section by section, right? No reason not to just skip all over the place, I think. Hey, what's up, Eric? Good to see you in the chat. If you do a one-shot on Start Playing, sign me up. You got it, Eric. Hey, I've got one-shots on Sunday, too. They're 5e right now. I probably will at some point. Maybe I'll swap one of those out for a Daggerheart one-shot. That could be pretty cool. But, buddy, if you want to play with me, you want to get in a one-shot, join one of my Sunday games. Christian survived the Riptide. What are you talking about, my dude? What happened on your... I know you were going on a trip. Did it get crazy? Tell us about it. What is Samael saying here about asymmetrical game for the GM? It can be like a sharp sword and sinister spell in which the PCs roll normally, but the GM rolls in reaction of them. Morkborg is also asymmetrical, if I remember correctly. Is it? Well, I guess maybe. In Morkborg, I think the GM doesn't ever roll a hit. It's sort of assumed that things affect the players, and they're rolling to save, and then you're just rolling damage, so it sort of is different. But that's more of like a step is removed for the GM, as opposed to you are doing different things to kind of accomplish the same thing. But yeah, maybe. All right, let's get to the world overview. I want to learn more about this. All right, Chapter 1, Preparing for Adventure. In this chapter, you'll prepare for your first game of Daggerheart. Woohoo! The upcoming sections describe Daggerheart's world-building fundamentals, then walk you through creating a character while providing information on each of the classes, domains, ancestries, and communities. Okay, well, I would love to see the sort of guidance they give on world-building, because obviously Matt is one of the best. I mean, he makes just the craziest, coolest, richest environment, so I want to see if he offers some advice about that. World Overview. Daggerheart encourages the exploration of worlds filled with great magics, wondrous landscapes, mythical beasts, dynamic factions, rousing mysteries, and powerful foes. While the world your table collaboratively creates will be your own, Daggerheart has established ancestries, communities, classes, abilities, and spells, so some world-building aspects will exist similarly across every campaign. The following sections describe the core realms, where these shared details derive from. These details can always be reflavored or modified to match the style of game your group wants to play. When creating your table's unique world, you can use one of the following as a starting point: an existing location you're already familiar with, a supplemental setting book, the guide for creating your own world in the Running a Campaign section in Chapter 3, or a campaign frame from Chapter 5. Okay, core realms. The core realms are the basis for the world-building elements inherent to many of Daggerheart's mechanics, such as its ancestries and adversaries. The mortal realm. Hey, I've got that one in my game. As do we all. It's the material plane. Most adventures will likely take place in the mortal realm. This is the land, sea, and sky where mortals live out the entirety of their lives. The plane where the majority of all material beings and objects exist. Stories say this realm was created by the forgotten gods during the earliest age, and that these immortals traveled between the hollows above and this new plane as easily as walking from a dream. During this time, the gods were familiar to the mortals, and acts of divinity were commonplace, but be they wonderful or terrifying. There we go. When the forgotten gods were overthrown by the new gods, many of these ancient deities were trapped within this plane eternally. This realm is also occupied by the faint divinities. Ooh, that's interesting. Lesser deities created by both the forgotten and the new gods to oversee the mortal realm. Many are considered to be quite capricious, and though their spheres of influence are smaller than the gods who created them, they can greatly influence the lives of mortals, so like demigods. Faint divinities. Do I like that name? I worship a faint... I don't know if I do. Faint is kind of a strange... I worship a faint divinity. What are your beliefs of the faint divinities? What are the schemes of the faint divinities? Yeah, kind of an odd name. But I like the forgotten gods. I think that's cool. The hollows above. That's a fun sounding thing. Speaking of which, the hollows above. The hollows above are the collection of deific territories that once belonged to the forgotten gods before the new age... Oh my god, let's start over. The hollows above are the collection of deific territories that once belonged to the forgotten gods before the new gods claimed it at the end of the earliest age. Because this place is closely connected with most other realms, the gods residing here can see and speak with the creatures of the mortal realm without leaving their domain, though those with whom the gods communicate may find their methods strange or obfuscated. There are ways by which the new gods can leave the hollows above to occupy other realms, but in the current age, they must always sacrifice something of personal importance to do so. It's rumored that this burden was necessitated by their desire to protect the Hollows from the Forgotten Gods should they rise again, as the Forgotten Gods, or any being from the mortal realm, would also have to forfeit much to enter the Hollows above. These sacrifices have caused some of the great calamities that have befallen the mortal realm in recent millennia. So you've got the mortal realm, you've got the Hollows above, which are like the heavens, it's where the gods are. What I haven't quite picked up on yet, I'm trying to, is like, where do they introduce the idea of a multiverse? Because that's something in the Forgotten Realms that, and D&D lore is like, there's a multiverse. The gods are from all over the place, and like the pantheon that oversees the realm of Faerun, like some of those gods are from other universes, which is interesting. Like it's cool, but I'm not a multiverse fan. Like I if I did introduce the idea of a multiverse, it would be more like timelines, split alternate timelines, but sort of everything. Like, all of the timelines still sort of follow the same canon rules or whatever. So I'm curious if they introduce the idea of a multiverse here. So far, it seems like they sort of might be, but maybe aren't. The circles below. Oh, I bet the realms beyond is where we get into maybe some multiverse stuff. But the circles below are the collection of lower realms where many of the forgotten gods, those who fought the most passionately during the uprising, were banished. Known as the fallen gods, these deities lost the divine war with the new gods during the earliest age and have since been deemed evil practitioners of tainted magic. Thus, the faint divinities who were banished alongside them are commonly referred to as demons, and those that descended from these creatures also bear the weight of that identifier. The circles below are considered places of corruption, destruction, and violence. Stories say this domain is home to some of the most dangerous creatures in the core realms. Most other planes have safeguards against fallen who wish to cross from the circles below. Within the mortal realm, the use of arcane magic and acts of great evil is said to open a temporary rift between the two planes, allowing fallen to pass through. Cool. So we've got our heavens, we've got our hells. They're just called different things, but sort of at the end of the day, it's sort of all the same. The realms beyond. The cosmos holds many realms beyond these, the elemental lands, the astral realm, the valley of death, and countless others, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Accessing and traversing these places from the mortal realm requires specialized knowledge and hard-learned skills. Still, some of the beings in the core realms guard these secrets closely and could be persuaded to share them for a price. If you find the Red Skull wandering your world, he can help you get to the other universes using his Tesseract magics, I suppose. Yeah, okay. So they give you the permission slip to be like, this is the setting, but if you want, here you go. Here's a way to do something else. So that's fine. That's kind of cool, I guess. Well, is it? I don't know. I almost wish it'd be like, nah. Like, if you're gonna play in this setting, then this is the law. These are the rules. There are no other crazy dimensions. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel either one way about it. What's everybody thinking so far? Christian was in the ocean. Just coming back to chat real fast. Christian said he almost died on a riptide. Was in the ocean, didn't know that there was a riptide warning. You know, for a nuclear scientist, you'd think you'd be a little smarter than that, Christian. You don't go into the riptides. Come on. Oh, sweet, Marc, you're reading through your copy while I'm reading through mine. Very nice. Yeah, did anybody else pick up Daggerheart yet? I'm like really hoping, genuinely hoping, like, I would love for this to become really, really popular. I would love it. I think it'd be so cool. Something that, like, what rivals D&D's Shadow Dark, I suppose. Like, Shadow Dark is something that seems really, really popular, but I'll be the resident Samael. I'll be the hater. I don't get it. I don't get the hype. To me, it's just a bare bones 5e, which is like, I guess that's what it was advertised as, I suppose. But when I flip through it, I'm not like, wow, I get it. I get why Shadow Dark is so cool. I just don't. It looks really good. It's a beautiful book. There's cool ideas in there. Like, some of the random tables are fun, but I'm like, what else are we really getting here? This feels like a book, and I've heard this from Runehammer and a couple other channels of like, yeah, it's pretty freaking sweet. Humble Gallipot says, I don't think Matt directly worked on this. I may be wrong. I believe the Umbra campaign frame was him, however. I wasn't expecting this game to have a core setting. I'd be curious to learn more about the core setting. And did Matt really not work? That would blow my mind if Matt was not one of the, like... So Spencer Stark was the lead game designer. Matthew Mercer right there, additional game designer. Writing also came from... Well, additional writing. I guess he wouldn't be listed on there if he was one of the designers. What else is Matt listed on here? Probably not going to be any of these. Consultants, is he under there? Probably not. I mean, but he's on here. Oh, there it is. Dominic Mayer, the cool artist who did the alternate cover art and who I have art from in that little book right up there. But yeah, he worked on this. I guess obviously he's not like the main author, right? But still. Where were we? Chapter 1, world overview. Okay, magic and spells. Let's see how they describe magic and spells in this game. Depending on the kind of character you play, they may or may not have the ability to use magic. Magic in Daggerheart is both very powerful and incredibly dangerous. They all say that. Every RPG says magic is dangerous. Let's see what they mean by that. Permeating the land and manifesting within the people. It is both a force within you that can aid you throughout your journey and a force outside of you that affects the world. If your character does have the power of spellcasting, you use magic through specific weapons, spells, and other means. As characters grow, the magic they can perform grows with them. Each level, you gain cards that describes the new powerful magic they can wield and the specific parameters for using it. Okay, let's take a look at Healing Field real quick. So this is a spell. I'm guessing that's like 4th level spell. It requires 2 uses of a mana or something. Once per long rest, you can conjure a field of healing plants around you, everywhere within close range of you. Burst to life in vibrant nature, allowing you and all allies in the area to clear a hit point. Spend 2 hope to allow you and all allies to clear 2 hit points instead. Ooh. 2 hit points. That's not very much. Are the hit points really low in this game? I would love that. I've always wanted RPGs to have way lower hit points. I think that's like a huge problem for slog. So if that's the case, hell yeah. Also, it's very interesting. It specifies Healing Field, you can use this during a long rest. Doesn't say like in the middle of a combat you can just heal everybody all of a sudden. Okay, I'm digging that. Good things so far. Flavoring your game. If the default portrayal of your character's mechanical effects doesn't fit them and their style, you can always describe them in a way that does. That's what I'm talking about. This is often called flavoring. That's like one of the core tenets of the Church of Doom, right? We reflavor everything. However, unless your table agrees, that reflavor shouldn't offer any mechanical effect beyond the effect's existing description. Exactly. Yep. For instance, you might say that your rogue's magics takes the form of gadgets and inventions. Instead of magically creating a dark cloud, they drop a smoke grenade. Or perhaps your ranger's magic takes the form of ancestral spirits who draw forth the forces of nature. Perhaps magic works in an entirely different way in your lore, and you explain how every class's powers emerge from a different source. As long as it abides by the mechanics of the game, you're encouraged to reflavor things to suit your character's needs. Very cool. I love it. That it's like right here in one of the first pages where they're talking about the overview of the world and magic. I think that's awesome. All right, we're to character creation. A little overview about that. Unless you're the GM, the first step of Daggerheart is to create your character. In addition to choosing your class, community, and ancestry, you're also responsible for crafting their physical appearance, personality, and prior experience, as well as their relationships with the other characters. Some of these decisions are purely narrative, meaning they only appear in the game through your role-playing, but others are mechanical choices. Okay, getting started. Before you create your character, discuss the campaign with your table and begin brainstorming ideas. Well, guys, in this campaign, it's taking place in sort of a mishmash of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Witcher series, but the Netflix series universe, not the video game series, and we're also going to incorporate a couple things from Critical Role, just like all the characters from Campaign 1. We'll bring them all back and a few from Campaign 2. So pretty chill, honestly, pretty normal campaign setting. Having a session 0. If you're preparing to start a new campaign with your group, we recommend that you use your first session together to build characters and talk about the world you'll be playing in. This is often called a session 0. See the session 0 and safety tools section on page 169. And is the best way to ensure that everyone is on the same page about the tone and feel of the campaign, so you can create a character, what is wrong with me? So you can create characters who work well together. Think about character concepts. Before you begin the character building process, it can be helpful to review the materials and formulate an idea for what type of character you want to play. Your concepts can be surface level in general, such as a circus performer who uses magic or a captain who lost their ship at sea, but having even a basic starting point will help you make choices. Okay. Step 1, choose your class. The first step of character creation is to choose a class. Each class is a role-based archetype that determines what abilities you have access to throughout the campaign. For example, you might choose to play a guardian if you want to be the tank of your group, who runs into fights head first and protects others with their own life. You might choose a wizard if you want to be a unique caster to solve problems, heal party members, and wield magics or cunning magics during battle. Okay. Oh, we got our first cat folk. Meow. How you doing? Class options. Okay, this is going to be All brand new to me. I've not heard of any of this before. Hopefully it's the same. What's up, Colin Lee? Howdy to you. Good to see you in the chat. So you got a bard with subclasses like troubadour, or wordsmith. So you play the troubadour if you want to play music to bolster your allies. You play the wordsmith if you want to use clever wordplay and captivate crowds. Okay. I hate to start on a negative note, but those don't seem remarkably different to me. I guess one uses music and one uses words, but both still feel very like performance-based, but not different enough. I guess if I had to come up with my own idea right now, it's like, okay, if you want to do the troubadour, you're the musician. Another bard would be, what would be another cool bard that isn't just already one from like a D&D subclass? What would be a cool bard? Okay, maybe it's harder than I thought. I guess who am I to judge? I will not question the Mercer's logic. Or was it Spencer Stark? I want to call him Stark, but I don't think that's what his last name was, the lead designer. Druid. You've got Warden of the Elements or Warden of Renewal. So the elements is if you want to embody the natural elements of the wild. Water, earth, fire, air. Hell yeah, we're the Avatar, baby. You could play the Warden of Renewal if you want to use powerful magics to heal your party. Okay. It's okay. So maybe playing Warden of the Elements, I'm assuming both druids can do like plant stuff. I was kind of surprised one of these wasn't like the beast druid and another one was like the plant druid, because you've got elements and healing. But the renewal one does have like the plants growing up out of the ground. So maybe that is the plant themed one. Okay. Guardian. You've got the Stalwart. You play that if you want to take heavy blows and keep fighting, or you've got the Vengeance. Play this if you want to strike down enemies who harm you or your allies. Interesting. And the Ranger. You've got the Beastbound. Play this if you want to form a deep bond with an animal ally who... I'm curious. I get a vibe from the internet whenever I'm like scrolling Reddit or things of people who are like, it's shocking. I don't know. It's weird. So many people seem to like get so angry if an animal dies or if their animal companion dies. It's like the one thing. It's like, no, it can't happen, and I won't let it happen, and I quit if it happens. I'm like, oh my god, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy to be like, they have plot armor, essentially, is what it sort of feels like sometimes, which, frankly, I guess I give plot armor to like things like that in my games too, because I'm like, I don't want to go out of my way to kill it. But it does feel, it's a little immature. That's the vibe I get. A very immature vibe from people who are like, you cannot kill my animal companion. You can't do it, or I'm not going to play. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, dude. Anyways, the Wayfinder Ranger. Play this if you want to hunt your prey and strike with deadly force. Cool. Are there others? Oh, there are more. I guess, we didn't even get the Rogue. Subclasses are the Nightwalker or the Syndicate. Play the Nightwalker if you want to manipulate shadows to maneuver through the environment, or the Syndicate if you want to have a web of contacts everywhere you go. That's kind of the first one where those two feel really different from each other, and both sound really cool. So I dig the Rogue so far. Seraph is a class. That's very interesting. Okay. Is this like their version of a cleric? So a Seraph, you can play the Winged Sentinel if you want to take flight and strike crushing blows from the sky, or play the Divine Wielder if you want to dominate the battlefield with a legendary weapon. Okay, so why wouldn't you just play the Seraph? The Seraph already sounds cooler than all of the others. Everything else is like, yeah, you have like an animal pet, or you like a druid, you got some magics that heal people, or you could have wings, or a magic weapon. That guy looks like Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. Yeah, I do not. That one immediately, I'm like, that sounds like the coolest one. So that's interesting. And it's not the cleric. Note that there isn't like a priest. There isn't the cleric class. That's very interesting. The sorcerer has the elemental origin. Play this if you want to channel the raw power of a particular element. What makes that different from the warden of the elements, druid? I don't like that. I don't like that there are two elemental themed ones, but they're different. They're like, they sound the same, but one's a sorcerer, one's a druid. Don't love that. Or you could play the Primal Origin. Play this if you want to extend the versatility of your spells in powerful ways. That one sounds cool. That sounds fun for a sorcerer. Warrior. Let's see how the Warrior differs from the Guardian. The Warrior can either play, hey, it's Ford. You can play Call of the Brave. So if you want to use the might of your enemies to fuel your own power, play the Call of the Brave if you want to use the might of your enemies to fuel your own power. Okay, I'm not sure what they mean by that, but it sounds interesting. Or play the Slayer if you want to strike down adversaries with immense force. Is that similar to any of the ones in the Guardian? Play the Vengeance if you want to strike down enemies who harm you or your allies. So that one's, okay, so I guess there is a difference. Whatever. There's a difference. I'll give it to him. Wizard, School of Knowledge or School of War. Play the School of Knowledge if you want a keen understanding of the world around you, or play the School of War if you want to utilize trained magic for violence. Okay, so your utility caster and your damage caster. Cool. Those sound very different, and both sound like wizards. I dig it. What do we think of the classes? What are our thoughts? Bard, Druid, Guardian, Ranger, Rogue, Seraph, Sorcerer, Warrior, Wizard. Humble Galopot says Seraph is Paladin. I thought that's what Guardian was. Guardian was giving me Paladin vibes because, like, the Vengeance Paladin, and Paladins can have, like, heavier armor. They're a little tankier, but they can deal out some damage. That's the vibe I got. Christian said, we have a rule at my table. You can use your animal in useful... Wait. You can use... If your animal is useful or invulnerable, you could use it in combat or stealth. It's really useless but cannot die. Oh, I think you're just saying, like, if someone wants to use their, like, little pet or something in combat, they're not going to be very good in combat, but outside of that, they can be pretty useful, I think is what you're saying. Samael saying Seraph seems OP from the start. That's what I feel like. That's my thought. Yeah, that one just seems insanely cool. Humble says, I guess the Sorcerer specializes in one element, but the Druidic goes general? Oh, yeah, that's true. It does say of a particular element versus, like, the elemental... Whoa. What did I just do? Oh, I think I accidentally clicked a hyperlink on one of these. Oh. Everything slowed down. Oh my goodness. Why am I scrolling it that way? There's a faster way to do this. Hang on. Hey, look at this handsome lad. Hello, catfolk. We were at... Here we were. Yeah, so the druid is if you want to embody the natural elements of the wild. And maybe that could mean a lot of different things, I guess. Like elements, like lightning, wind. Well, no, what am I talking about? Like, lightning is just a subgenre of a firebender. It's still the four main elements. Wilk, what's going on? Barbarian rage type thing, he's asking. Oh, yeah, does someone have that? Who has that? Yeah, wait, where is the barbarian? Druid, guardian. Okay, so maybe that's what the stalwart is. But it doesn't sound like you have a rage. That would be so crazy if they didn't have a barbarian with a rage. Not that I'm, like, saying that makes me sound like I'm thinking they need to have everything that's in 5e. That's not what I mean. If I had to give a sort of honest opinion of these classes so far, I'd say they're really similar to 5e. They're almost not different enough. Like, if you're going to do something different, make it really different. So that's my main critique. It's just not different enough, and it's like missing things, like a barbarian's rage. It seems like it's missing things, but it hasn't really replaced them with anything crazy, except the Seraph, which is like God class, right? That's my honest feedback, not a hater comment, because I'm still excited. I've still got a big old smile on my face. Can't wait to play it. Just my opinion. It's just my opinion, dude. Fuza Pariah. Just realized the Seraph art is based off of Joe Magno. Oh, is that what it's based off of? That doesn't look like Joe Magno. What is it? I'm just going to call him Manganiello. I cannot pronounce his last name. Is that who it's based off of? I guess it sort of looks like him a little bit. I think it looks like Rick Grimes. Foxtrot said, if you were only going to see a few, let's look at the Wizard, Guardian, Rogue, Seraph. I'm assuming that this one is like the Cleric to see how... Oh yeah, we don't have to look through every single one. You're saying if we're going to look through just a few, we'll pick a couple. You were saying which ones? The Wizard, the Guardian, the Rogue, or the Seraph? Why don't we do this? Do we want to do a little poll? Let's do a poll. Let's take a look at... So I'll say I'm interested in the Druid. I'm going to put that on the poll. The Guardian. So we'll take 2 from the first page and we'll take 2 from the next page. I think we'll save Seraph for last. And then we can have context for a couple other classes before we check that one out. Maybe the Sorcerer and the Wizard, sure. Or no, Sorcerer and Wizard are very, very similar. Let's do Rogue or Wizard. All right, we'll let that run for just a minute. You got 60 seconds to cast a vote, folks, and we'll check it out. Let's see. Humble Gallipods. The class structure is where things get different. Maybe Rage is a domain ability. Are there different... Oh, are there subclasses and domains? Well, I'm going to see if I can find that while you guys are voting. Does it talk about... Okay, once you've chosen a class, you'll also choose a subclass. The subclass are subsets of each class that further define the character's archetype. Class, community, and ancestry. What's a domain? I'm sure we'll encounter that at some point. Oh, Colin Lee, good point. No, Monk. Now, in their defense, obviously they're going to be releasing lots of things in like they put up the Void, which is their version of Unearthed Arcana. All sorts of playtest material. There's already 2 things on there. One is a Warlock, and the other is... I can't remember. But they've got stuff on there, so Monk will probably show up as something from the Void eventually, and some playtest material. What'd you guys vote on? Guardian. Okay, let's check out the Guardian. Is it hyperlinked? It should be. Nice. Love me a hyperlink. Okay, the Guardian. Ooh, okay, we're going to want to probably read this whole first page in detail. The title of Guardian represents an array of martial professions, speaking more to their moral compass and unshakable fortitude than the means by which they fight. While many Guardians join groups of militants for either a country or cause, they're more likely to follow those few they truly care for. Majority be damned. Guardians are known for fighting with remarkable ferocity even against overwhelming odds, defending their cohort above all else. Woe betide those who harm the ally of a Guardian, as a Guardian will answer this injury in kind. Okay, so this is definitely the Paladin. So there's 2 different domains, the Valor and Blade. Wait, and those are different from the subclasses? I need to learn what these domains are. I do not know what a domain is, and it sounds fun. Starting evasion. Is it okay? What's evasion and what's hit points? Oh my gosh, so many new things to learn about. But apparently you have 9 starting evasion, 7 hit points. So the hit points are so low. I love it. That's really, really exciting. So that must mean monster hit points are really low too. Well, maybe not. We'll have to find out. That's so interesting though. Class items, a totem from your mentor or a secret key. Very specific with the one class item you get. A totem from your mentor or a secret key. Okay. Wish that was a little longer list of cool examples. Guardian's Hope feature. So this is where you have the fear and the hope on the D12 rolls. So this is where that comes in. Frontline tank. Spend 3 hope to clear 2 armor slots. To clear 2 armor slots. I'm assuming what that means is you have armor slots that you can give up to avoid taking damage, and you kind of take them off. And by clear, it means you get 2 back. That seems like what would make it feel like an actual tank ability. Class features, class feature, unstoppable. Once per long rest, you can become unstoppable. You gain an unstoppable die. At level 1, your unstoppable die is a d4. Place it on your character sheet in the space provided, starting with the 1 value facing up. After you make a damage roll that deals 1 or more HP to a target, increase the unstoppable die value by 1. When the die's value would exceed its maximum value, or when the scene ends, remove the die and drop out of unstoppable. At level 5, your unstoppable die increases to a d6. Okay, so every time you're doing damage, it's ticking up by 1 to a max of 4 until you reach level 5. While unstoppable, you gain the following benefits. You reduce the severity of physical damage by 1 threshold. Severe to major, major to minor, minor to none. Well, I definitely need to learn more about what that is, because If that's wait, okay, so you reduce the severity of physical damage by 1 threshold. So is damage not determined by dice rolls anymore? Are they just in like categories? I honestly think I really like that too. I think damage rolls are honestly one of the most boring parts of D&D. Like, it seems like it would be one of the most fun parts, and you certainly can have these like peak moments where you roll some amount of like critical damage. You're like, whoa, that's crazy. But you wouldn't play D&D if the only thing you were doing was rolling damage dice rolls. Like, that would be so boring. You can also add the current value of the unstoppable die to your damage roll. Oh, cool. So your damage is increased. Wait, but so there is a damage roll? Okay, interesting. And you can't be restrained or vulnerable. Can't be restrained. Just this tank just smashing through the enemies. That's a cool visual, like the Juggernaut sort of vibe. Fun. What's this little tip? If your unstoppable die is a d4 and the 4 is currently facing up, you remove the die the next time you would increase it. However, if your unstoppable die has increased to a d6 and the 4 is currently facing up, you'll turn it to 5 the next time you would increase it. In this case, you'll remove the die after you would increase it. Okay, so you can like burn yourself out. I like that. I like that it's not just you have this and it lasts the whole combat. It's like you have this and it's going to build up and you're going to get really, really, really powerful. And then you're going to kind of hit this fatigue point where it starts over. That's cool. I think that's fun. The Guardian subclass, you can choose either the Stalwart or Vengeance oh my god. What is wrong with me? I speak so fast. Choose either the Stalwart or Vengeance subclass. The Stalwart subclass, if you play this, or if you choose this, you're playing the Stalwart if you want to take heavy blows and keep fighting. Foundation features, Unwavering, gain a permanent +1 bonus to your damage thresholds, or Iron Will. When you take physical damage, you can mark an additional armor slot to reduce the severity. Okay, there's all sorts of little abilities here that we don't necessarily know how they work because we haven't read the rules yet. Foundation features. I'm guessing you just, maybe you start with one of those, or I'm assuming you start with either one or both of those, is my guess. Permanent +1 bonus to your damage thresholds. That sounds really nice. Or mark an additional armor slot. I gotta learn what these are. Specialization features are Unrelenting. Gain a permanent +2 bonus to your damage thresholds, to your oh my god, damage thresholds. Or Partners in Arms. When an ally within very close range takes damage, you can mark an armor slot to reduce the severity by 1 threshold. Very cool. Yeah, that's perfect for a paladin. Mastery features. I wonder what level that is. And are there even levels? I think I might have heard that there aren't levels. I don't think I've seen a single thing reference levels so far. Undaunted. No, that's not true, because at level 5, there are levels. Undaunted gives you a +3 permanent bonus to damage thresholds, or Loyal Protector. When an ally within close range has 2 or fewer hit points and would take damage, you can mark a stress to sprint to their side and take the damage instead. Oh, that is so thematic. That is a thematic ability. That is so cool. It doesn't say like you can take a certain amount of the damage, or you have to. I like that it's doing close range versus and far range. It's not specific range distances of 5 feet, 10 feet, 50. Get rid of all that shit. Who cares? This just sounds fun. Using that would be epic. Let's check it out compared to the Vengeance, though. Play the Vengeance, I almost said Paladin, champion if you want to strike down enemies who harm you or your allies. Foundation features are At Ease, gain an additional stress slot, or Revenge. When an adversary within melee range succeeds on an attack against you, you can mark 2 stress to force the attacker to mark a hit point. Okay, so what's that spell? Hellish Rebuke. So it's just a baked-in Hellish Rebuke. Cool. Oh, interesting. So this subclass only has... Why does this one have 2 different mastery features and this one only has 1? Maybe they're really good. Specialization feature, Active Reprisal. When an adversary damages an ally within melee range, you gain a +1 bonus to your proficiency for the next successful attack you make against that adversary. And the mastery feature is Nemesis. Spend 2 hope to prioritize an adversary until your next rest. When you make an attack against your prioritized adversary, you can swap the results of your hope and fear die. You can only prioritize 1 adversary at a time. I'm not a mechanical enough DM or player to tell you if these 2 combined are equal or better or worse than these, but I will say it all sounds very flavorful for a Vengeance champion. I think I dig it. Alex Wants Bean saying, this part is feeling a lot more different. Yeah, I mean, this reads and feels different than 5e. Of course, every RPG is going to feel similar in certain respects, but this does just feel narratively focused, and I love it. I love it. What did Green Averine say? Which, by the way, Green, welcome into the chat. Good to hear from you here. Since they asked, like a rage? That feature sounds a lot like a barbarian's rage, getting burnt out afterwards. Oh, so you're probably talking about our stalwart. Yeah, I do feel like the stalwart combines paladin and barbarian into sort of one. Which I guess I don't care either way. Like, is it weird that the barbarian is missing? Yes. But being able to play a juggernaut paladin who has some of the features of a barbarian but is still more about being a knight is still really cool. So I dig that. He's like a light machine gun that can overheat. That's a great way to describe what the stalwart is like. Humble says Vengeance has strong barbarian vibes. I felt like it had more like warlock vibes almost, with like hexing and like picking an adversary. Is that also in the Vengeance Paladin? I mean, I'm definitely getting Vengeance Paladin, obviously, but I'm picking up more warlock than a barbarian vibe. The barbarian was coming through in the stalwart. But is there more to read about the... Oh, wow, look how short these character subclasses are. That's awesome. I'm not a crunch player. I don't like crunch. I don't like... To me, and I think this was honestly an opinion that I might have picked up or heard expressed by Professor Dungeon Master, but it's like the more options you give, the more limiting the game becomes. Because as you start to get more granular with these abilities and where they apply and which classes they work for and all that sort of stuff, like suddenly you have to build really specifically in order to do certain things, as opposed to being more broad and general and being able to how did he describe it? I'm trying to remember. I mean, I think I kind of covered the basics of like, yeah, you would think that adding more abilities and more rules and more subclass things makes the game better. It makes it cooler for the players. But really what it does is just make things slower, more confusing, and more restrictive. So seeing a 2-page, technically a 1-page, actually, now that I'm seeing it, this is it for the Guardian's abilities. Then these are just background questions. Okay, I'm excited about this. What is this for? I'm sure this is just a tool for like GM session 0 sort of stuff. Answer any of the following background questions. You can also create your own questions. Who from your community did you fail to protect, and why do you still think of them? You've been tasked with protecting something important and delivering it somewhere dangerous. What is it, and where does it need to go? You consider an aspect of yourself to be a weakness. What is it, and how has it affected you? Great questions. Connections. Ask your fellow players one of the following questions for their character to answer, or create your own questions. How did I save your life the first time we met? That's a fun one. What small gift do you give me that you notice I always carry with me? Or what lie have you told me about yourself that I absolutely believe? Oh, fun. Yeah. Now, a critique here. I think we could have done with more questions, and we certainly could have utilized this page better. Kind of weird that it's, like, obviously this is meant to be a spread. So this big white section on this page bleeds into this big white section on that page, and then you've got art dominating it. But I think we could have done with more questions for sure. And maybe like special questions for the stalwart versus the vengeance. But that's cool. I dig it. What's up, Geek Ledger? Fun name. I'm torn in 3 directions as to what TTRPG I should get next. I just got Old School Essentials, but I'm thinking of buying either Daggerheart, Shadow Dark, or Candela Obscura. Daggerheart is winning by a smidge. Yeah, if I had to give my opinion, Geek Ledger, go Daggerheart. You might have missed it, but earlier in the stream I was saying like Shadow Dark is cool, but it's almost like plain. There's like its selling point seems to be like it is an OSR game that is hyper simple, but it's so simple it doesn't really sell me on anything except like it has its the darkness mechanic where you like have like you're meant to have an actual light source in front of the players and it burns out. Or no. If they light a torch, it burns out within an hour of like real life time. Like after an hour at the table, their torch burns out no matter what they've done in the game. And I hate to say it, but like for that being its main selling point, I'm like, that's like gimmicky and sounds frustrating. Like if me and the players want to take some time to come up with a plan or talk about a strategy, or we're like just kind of riffing with each other, we're having like a funny little banter moment, it would suck that eats into my hour of in-game torch time. So I don't like it. If I were to run Shadow Dark, I wouldn't even use that. I would just kind of ignore it. Which at that point, it's like, why even play Shadow Dark? Just play Morkborg or something. Candela Obscura also is just a genre that I'm not interested in, of like paranormal Cthulhu-esque stuff. It's just, I don't know why. It's never hooked on to me. And based on how many copies of the book I've seen at my local game store for a while now, it doesn't seem to hook a lot of other people either. So Daggerheart, I think, will absolutely be the game that you have a better chance of like getting people to try out and play. Oh, Samael said, Father Doom, I've experienced it myself playing Fabula Ultima. A lot of fun character options, but the game continues to slow down for understanding what to do / can do. What is Fabula Ultima? I don't know what that is. But anywho. Okay, so we checked out one of these classes so far. What time is it? Oh my god, we've been doing this for an hour. Okay, we might need to, if we're going to get through a couple different things within a 2-hour time frame, we might have to skip around a little bit more. So we checked out the classes a little bit. You know what? Maybe we skipped over some important... Well, hold on. Character creation. We looked at this. We looked at the options of the classes. Oh, okay. Here, I want to come back. Maybe we'll look at another class later on if we have some time. Actually, no, we got to look at the Seraph. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Real fast. I want to skim this to get a sense of like what are the domains and how do some of these specific new mechanics work. Then we'll jump down and look at Seraph, and then we'll move on, okay? Let's see. What do we want to look at here? Character sheet, character guide, record your level, character details, class feature. Okay, every class begins with a unique class feature or several. So you do get all of them. You don't just pick them. Okay. You don't have to write these features down. They're provided at the bottom left of each class's character sheet. Ooh, I like that it's just already on there. That's nice. If your class feature asks you to make a selection during character creation, make it before the first session. Okay. Choose your heritage. This includes your ancestry and your community. So your ancestry is your species. A clank, a dracona, a dwarf. What's a dracona? That's a fun name. Fairy, fawn, furbolg, fungrel, galapa, giant. I'm guessing galapa is like frog folk. That's my guess. Okay, so you've got a bunch of different options here. Oh no, the ribbit is going to obviously be the frog folk. So what the hell's a galapa? Who knows and who cares? Choose your community. Next, you choose a community from the Okay, so this is a totally new. I've never seen something like this before. Your character's community is influenced by its physical location, values, and goals. It informs the culture your character grew up in and might play a part in the way they look, act, or approach situations. Each community comes with a feature that you can utilize during the game. Oh, that's really cool. Take the card for one of the following communities, then write its name in the heritage field. Okay, wow, I like this. Highborn, lowerborn, orderborn, Ridgeborn, they're all born. Ridgeborn, Seaborn, Slyborn, Underborn, Wanderborn, or Wildborn. I don't know if I like all the borns. That's a little confusing. Where do they specify these? I want to like read one of those. Are these linked somewhere? Okay, these aren't hyperlinked, unfortunately. But okay, so we'll have to check that out at some point. So you'll pick that, and then assign character traits. So you got agility, strength, finesse, instinct, what's instinct? Oh, so wisdom. You perceive, your sense, your navigation. Presence is your charisma. Knowledge is your intelligence. Why did you have to change the names? You know, I feel like you could have just done strength. Wait, what the? Agility, strength, finesse. Agility. Okay, let's see what the difference is here. But my honest opinion, probably could have just kept it as the 6 main ones and would have been a nice way to kind of get 5e people to transfer over. But whatever. Agility is your ability to sprint, leap, or maneuver. A high agility means you're fast on your feet, nimble on difficult terrain, and quick to react to danger. You'll make an agility roll to scurry up a rope, sprint to cover, or bound from rooftop to rooftop. Strength means you're better at feats that test your physical prowess and stamina. You'll make a strength roll to break through a door, lift heavy objects, or hold your ground against a charging foe. Okay, and finesse. A high finesse means you're skilled at tasks that require accuracy, stealth, or the utmost control. You'll make a finesse roll to use fine tools, escape notice, or strike with precision. Does agility, finesse, and strength. So like scurry up a rope, sprint to cover, bound from rooftop to rooftop. Those all sound like things that sort of involve a certain degree of stamina. Like sprinting. Well, stamina more for like overland running, I suppose. We're getting into a similar thing that comes up in 5e where it's like, you need to climb something. Now, I think most tables are like, make it acrobatics or athletics. But I've started to be like, no, that's an athletics check. You need to be strong to pull yourself up things. Acrobatics is just nimbleness in the air or like balance. And if I just had to go off my gut right here, I really don't think I see the difference between agility, strength, and finesse. Like they could have just been strength and dexterity. And then so what's missing here? It's missing constitution. So what is replacing that? I wonder. Did they just get rid of Constitution altogether? I mean, not that it comes up in D&D very often, so I could get why they're like, this Constitution never gets used. Let's just cut it and do something different. But they didn't. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. That's a little weird to me. Humble says agility is cardio. I suppose, but... All right, so you get your +2, +1, +1, 0, 0, -1 to distribute amongst them. We kind of get the sense of how those will work. Hi, cat lady. Hi, anime waifu. Literally, could not be more of an anime waifu. It's got the tail, it's got the cat ears, it's got the like stripes on the cheek. That's hilarious. Okay, let's see what evasion is. Your character's evasion reflects how hard it is for adversaries to hit them. Your class's starting evasion appears right beneath the evasion field on your character sheet. Copy this number into the evasion field. When an adversary makes an attack against your character, the GM rolls against their evasion to see if the adversary succeeds. So it's your armor class, basically. You can choose how your character's evasion manifests within the narrative. A wizard might avoid blows with the shimmering arcane shields or bat away an adversary's spells, while a ranger might nimbly dodge out of the way of attacks, and a warrior parries, blocks, and dodges. Your character's evasion starts low, but that's because it's not their only means of avoiding damage. If they're hit, they also have the opportunity to reduce the incoming damage using armor. Oh, cool. I like that. That's sort of similar to how it is in Morkborg, where you're rolling to evade things and then damage is just reducing the amount of damage you take, but it's not applied to your rolls to avoid damage. Although I do think if you have like heavy armor, it makes you slightly worse at avoiding getting hit. I would guess it'll probably be the same here. But I like this a lot. I like that armor class is like not the end-all be-all of ways to avoid getting hit. You can be good at avoiding things without armor. And there is a way for that to work in 5e, but I like the way it's presented here more. Hit points and stress. I'm mostly interested about stress. Well, no, because hit points seem to be like you are rolling for damage, but there's like groupings of hit points, but the hit points are really low. So let's see. Your character's health and well-being are represented by hit points and stress. Hit points, sometimes called HP, are an abstract reflection of your physical fortitude and ability to take hits from both blade and magic. Each class starts with a set number of hit points, okay, based off your class. Stress reflects, and I think the Guardian had, 7? Which is probably on the higher end, I would guess. Stress reflects your ability to withstand the pressure of dangerous situations and mental strain. Each class starts with 6 stress. What happens when your stress reaches 0? Because if it introduces a mechanic where it's like, you succumb to the fear and you flee, I don't like those types of mechanics because it's like, just takes you out of the fun, takes you out of the game. But we've got our hope and fear. These are currencies used by the players and the GM to represent the way fate turns for or against the characters during the game. You start with 2 hope. Mark these in the hope field of your character sheet. Anytime you roll with hope on your duality dice, meaning your hope die rolled higher than your fear die, you gain a hope. To a maximum of 6 during the game, you can spend hope to use special abilities and things. If you instead roll with fear on your duality dice, meaning your fear die rolled higher than the hope die, the GM gains a fear that they can spend on certain effects. Cool. Okay, that sounds fun. You choose your weapons, choose your armor. What's this? An armor's damage threshold indicates how much damage a character can endure before marking hit points. Add your character's level to both values and record the total for both numbers in the corresponding fields in the hit points and damage threshold section for Chapter 2. How much damage a character can endure before marking hit points? A damage threshold. So you can be hit and take damage, but it won't affect your hit points at a certain level. Is that what it's saying? That's very interesting. Choose your starting items, choose your background, choose your experiences. Oh, create your experiences. Okay, let's read this. This sounds interesting. In Daggerheart, your character's experiences are one of the core ways you express your backstory and expertise through mechanics. An experience is a word or phrase used to encapsulate a specific set of skills your character has acquired over the course of their exciting life. Your character starts with 2 experiences at character creation, each with a +2 modifier, and they'll earn more throughout your adventures. Before creating experiences, you'll want to have a solid idea of who your character is. The background questions are especially helpful for this. When you're ready, work with your GM to create 2 experiences that have shaped your character. There's no set list of experiences to choose from. I really like that. Though we offer options for inspiration under experience examples on the table to the right. Instead, find a word or phrase that embodies something distinctive about your character. Oh, I love this. I've tried things similar to this in the past when I've tried to do my own little micro RPG system. Each experience should be specific. For example, talented or focused are too broad, as they can be applied to almost any situation. Instead, you might use swashbuckler or magic studies. Additionally, your character's experiences can't give them spells or specific game abilities. For example, take flight or one-hit kill are too mechanically oriented. You might consider pilot or assassin instead. Yeah, hell yeah, that's so cool. Okay, what are some examples they gave up here? Hey, we have another cat person. How many fucking cat ears are we going to see in this rule book? Okay, experience examples. Backgrounds could include assassin, blacksmith, bodyguard, bounty hunter, chef to the royal family, circus performer, con artist, fallen monarch. Okay. Then it gets into some characteristics like affable, battle-hardened, bookworm, charmer, cowardly, friend to all, helpful, intimidating. You might do something like an acrobat, a gambler, a healer, inventor, a magical historian. Oh, you could even do it with phrases. That's cool. Catch me if you can. Fake it till you make it. First time's the charm. Hold the line. If I don't let you down... Wait. Oh, I won't let you down. I'll catch you. I've got your back. Knowledge is power. Oh, wow. So phrases can also grant you bonuses in certain situations. That I like that. I like that you could just be like, I don't necessarily have a skill that I'm really good in. I more have this catchphrase that sort of drives my actions and beliefs and things. That's really fun. Okay, using experiences. When one of your character's experiences fits the situation at hand, you can use that experience to showcase their expertise. Before you make an action or reaction roll, you can spend a hope to add the experience's modifier to the roll's result. Sometimes more than one of your character's experiences is a good fit for the situation. For example, if your character is trying to sneak past a guard in the dark, your I live in the shadows and stealthy experiences would both apply. If it fits the story, you can add more than one experience modifier to a roll, spending a hope for each. Okay, so there's a reason to stack, because as I was reading this, I was thinking, yeah, why would I want to do, the examples they give, why would I make a character that has shadows, or I live in the shadows and stealthy? It's I'm just doing the same thing. You would only do that if you want to be able to stack bonuses. So if you want to be the stealthiest person ever, then yeah, give yourself a couple different stealth experiences. But otherwise, you can kind of just get away with one, and it'll apply in a ton of different situations. Okay. I don't really care about changing experiences. Domain cards. This was the last thing that I wanted to see before we move on. Step 8, choose your domain card. So domains are the core building blocks of Daggerheart's classes. The following domains are included in this book. Arcana, Blade, Bone, Codex, Grace, Midnight Sage, Splendor, and Valor. Each domain has a domain deck, a deck of cards containing abilities and spells with essential theme or focus. For details on what each domain represents and how to use your domain cards, see the upcoming domains section. Each class in Daggerheart is formed by combining two of these domains. For example, the warrior class comprises Blade and Bone. The druid comprises Arcana and Sage, and the rogue comprises Midnight and Grace. This combination is noted at the top of the character sheet for each class, and the colors and symbols are found on the subclass foundation cards. To start, look at all the level 1 cards from your class's 2 domains and choose 2 cards, returning the rest to their respective decks. You can take 1 from each domain or 2 from a single domain, whichever you prefer. These cards grant you special spells and abilities. You'll choose another card each time you level up. Oh, that's fun. Man, it's like a little complex. It's not complex, but it's very there's just a lot of different things. You've got your class with your subclasses, and then you're picking your different domains, but then you have a total freedom of your experiences that also give you benefits that are totally different from the domain. It's a lot of moving parts, but I like it. It isn't overwhelming, but it's just a lot. And then, anyways, the other stuff I won't. If I keep reading, wow, Rick Grimes looks really different from this angle. Here's an example character sheet for a sorcerer. So they're level 1. They are a primal origin sorcerer, so they're all elemental based. Where do you mark your... I thought it said that they had... Oh, Arcana and Midnight. There it is. So that's where your domains are noted. So then you can pick your domain abilities. Where's that noted on here? I guess, is it not noted on here? You just have to use your cards for it, I suppose? Okay. Well, anywho, so damage. Minor damage, 7. Major damage, 14. Minor damage, 7. Major damage, 14. Severe damage, mark 3 HP. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes here. The HP, just looking at this, I don't understand how health and damage works. I'll have to look into that on my own time. But then their experiences, they picked a Royal Mage and Not on My Watch. How would Not on My Watch apply? I could totally see when a Royal Mage experience would sort of come in handy when you're dealing with nobility, you're diplomatic, obviously have some ability to do more like sort of entertaining type magics, that sort of deal. Not on My Watch. Where would that +2 apply? Not on My Watch sounds like something where you're trying to stop something from happening. Someone's trying to get through a door and you're like, not on my watch, and you get a +2 bonus to try and stop them. So it's sort of almost a reactionary experience. That's cool. That's funny with gold. You've got handfuls of gold and you got bags of gold, and then you got a chest of gold. That's interesting, a way to count it. Okay, well, yeah, the character stuff is really, really interesting. It's going to definitely take a couple read-throughs to sort of make sense of it and understand how it all works together, but I dig it so far. It seems like really customizable in the way that Pathfinder is, but not nearly as frustrating and confusing and rules-locked as Pathfinder is. You have way more flexibility. And that's something I've heard them talk about in interviews, and I'm definitely seeing it come through in what we've read so far. All right, it has been an hour and 20 minutes. We need to check out some other areas of this book, because we've been looking at character creation forever. Chapter 2 had playing an adventure. So this was flow of the game, core mechanics. I feel like we should take a look at that briefly. Let's not spend as much time as we did on the classes with that, because ultimately I want to get to the campaign frames. I want to check that out a lot, because I think as game masters, who I assume is most of the people who watches my channel, that's probably where a lot of our attention will go to. But chapter 2, playing an adventure. Let's check out the spotlight. What's this? How do they describe this? It's like the very first thing in the rule book. Oh wait, is it? Oh yeah, chapter 2, playing the game. So it's got the flow of the game. Step 1, the GM narrates, the players describe, players take their actions, blah, blah, blah. Okay, core mechanics, the spotlight. Anytime a character becomes the focus of a scene, they're in the spotlight. Even if many characters are involved in a dramatic moment, there is often one character leading the action. Oh, I really like that. Because of course, we want to see if they give more guidance, but that happens all the time in D&D where you get into a group moment where everybody sort of wants to be participating, but nobody wants to be speaking over each other. And so everyone's sort of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, where they're like, okay, I want to be involved, I want to do something, but I'm also like, I recognize this isn't my scene, but I don't want to just be sitting here doing nothing. So let's see what sort of guidance they give here. This might be the PC pulling their ally to safety, the NPC haggling over the price of rare goods, or the adversary attacking with their foul weapon. The spotlight organically moves around the table as scenes unfold, but the mechanics of the game might also determine where the spotlight goes next. For example, if a player rolls with fear on the duality dice during combat, the mechanics allow the GM to then spotlight an adversary to act against the heroes. Interesting. Okay. On your turn, Daggerheart's turns don't follow a traditional rigid format. You don't have a set number of actions you can take or things you can do before play passes to someone else. Players should follow the natural flow of the fiction to figure out what happens next, bouncing the spotlight around the table to whoever it makes sense to focus on in the moment. I don't like that, though. I actually really don't like that. That feels like a recipe for players to get totally skipped over a lot, especially if they're not a very vocal player. That's why I play in turn order all the time in almost every scenario, so that everybody has a chance to do something. Everybody can be involved, and I'm always moving the spotlight between players. But anyways, it says, however, all players should keep in mind those who has recently had the spotlight and try to find opportunities to give every character a chance to act. So you could just do that by playing in turn order, though. Maybe there's something about the mechanics of this game that makes it so you can't play in a turn order for whatever reason. Oh, optional tool, Spotlight Tracker. Ooh. Let's see what this is. I don't know if I like that name. It's giving me a bad hunch of what they're about to describe. If your group prefers tactical play or structured player turns, you can limit the number of actions each PC has available to them at a time. We recommend that you start with 3, but you can increase or decrease the number as your table prefers. If you use this system, when a battle begins, every player places action tokens on their character's sheets to represent how many actions you can take. Players then act as usual, and each time they make an action roll or perform a significant action while in the spotlight, they remove 1 token from their sheet. Collaborate with other players to pass play around the table, making moves and telling the story together. Even if you have multiple actions tokens, see if any other players wants a chance to act before you spend more in a row. Okay, it wasn't quite as bad as I was expecting. I thought it was going to be like, well, once you've done 2 things, or once you've spoken twice, then you can't say anything until someone else has done their stuff, which it sort of is saying that, but in a more interesting way. This has me wondering, if you've got these like action counters or whatever, or spotlight tokens, where does the GM come into play? How does the GM take the monster turns? Because if there isn't a turn order, then that must mean that monsters only ever act in reaction to what the players are doing, which could be interesting. Oh, here we go. GM moves and adversary actions. PCs aren't the only ones who make moves. The GM can make a GM move. See the Making Moves section on page 149. GM moves can happen at nearly any time, but they must commonly occur when a PC rolls with fear or fails an action roll. Typically, GM moves escalate the scene in an exciting and dangerous way. A new threat might emerge from the woods, the PCs could be separated by a sudden cave-in, or another similar action might significantly change the scene. When the GM is finished with their turn, play returns to the PCs. This creates a back-and-forth conversation as the story evolves organically between the GM and players. Many GM's moves won't require spending any resources, but the GM can spend fear to make additional or more powerful moves, such as using an adversary or an environment's fear move. Okay. So it's what I was expecting. There will definitely need to be some good instruction on how to use that, though. Because I could see a lot of GMs, especially ones coming over from 5e, being like, what? I don't have a set turn? I just sort of... Yeah, that could be a little overwhelming. I could definitely see that. What are we thinking so far, though? I almost want to take just a quick pause, A, because I want to get some water, and B, I have not engaged with chat in a minute. Apologies. I know I'm stopping us and asking your thoughts like right in the middle of looking at the mechanics, but overall, from what we've seen in the past hour and a half, do we like it? Do we not like it? Where are we at on like a scale of 1 to 10? A D10 scale. 1 being, I'm never going to play this and I think it's stupid. 10 being, I'm going to buy this so I can play it tomorrow. What are we kind of feeling so far? What's the vibe? Be very interested to kind of gauge everybody's enthusiasm level. And while I'm doing that, as a reminder, don't forget, we've got our super chat goal. 5 super chats will take the 1996 Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Trivia-a-thon quiz. Whoa, sorry, just bumped the table. There are 42 questions on the very first page, but guess what? That's not all. It also opens up and has category 2, stories and settings. It has another 95 questions, or no, It's basically like another 45 questions. It's the second half. But these are all like super specific to campaign settings, like old settings that I don't think we would have any knowledge about. The game rules, we could definitely do that. So if we get that 5 super chat goal, then we'll get to, we'll do these questions, right? We'll take a quiz. We'll do a little bonus stream. We'll check it out. Oh, we're getting some messages coming in on vibes. Humble Gallopod is at 8 out of 10. So really, really likes it. Noble Knight says, me, likely. Probably play it. Marc says, I already bought the collector's edition, so that's how I feel. Yeah, Marc, no surprise there, dude. You're a avid RPGist, dude. It's crazy. You're an encyclopedia of knowledge with rules and stuff. Colin Lee says, I wish there was a form of bard skills used in all classes, since technically we all use it. What? I wish there was a form of bard skills used in all classes, since technically we all... Oh, you mean charisma? Is that what you mean? Because I think there is like a sort of charisma-based skill, I thought. But just from the messages in chat so far, it seems like overall, very, very positive feel about the game so far, which is good. I hope lots of people see this and get excited about it and decide to pick it up. Other things in core mechanics we want to check out. The duality dice, is that something we need to... Probably should, real fast. Let's just skim this, because we already have sort of an idea of there's a hope and a fear die, and if one rolls higher, then it gives you a point. It gives you a hope point, or it gives the GM a fear point. One of your duality dice is a hope dice and a fear dice. Hope. When you roll your duality dice and the hope die is higher than the fear die, you roll with hope. When this happens on an action roll, even if you fail, mark one of the hope slots on your character sheet. You might also gain hope from spells, abilities, blah, blah, blah. Fear. When you roll the duality dice and the fear dice is higher, you roll with fear. When this happens, even if you succeed, the GM gains a fear, and there are consequences or complications that come from your action you were attempting. So a little like an oracle. Critical successes. Critical success counts as a roll with hope, even if you would have otherwise failed because the total is lower than the rolls. Wait. When you roll a duality dice and both dice roll the same number, that is a critical success. Okay, I missed that important information. A critical success counts as a roll with hope, even if you would have otherwise failed because the total is lower than the roll's difficulty. So anytime you roll the same number, you have a critical success. When you critically succeed on a roll, along with gaining a hope, you also clear a stress from your character sheet. Additionally, when you critically succeed on an attack roll, you deal extra damage. Okay, cool. So seems like you'll be able to critically succeed a lot. And your odds of succeeding seem quite higher than your odds of ever failing. Which is, I think, good game design. If it was 50-50 or in favor of failing, like that would be a really shitty game, right? Foxtrot says, disliking agility and finesse, agreed. Loving the fear and the hope mechanic. Yeah, I'm liking it. I was already pretty on board with it when I first heard about it, but I was like, is it going to be a little clunky? Is it going to be a little weird to have to consult it all the time? But it's not feeling like it. It seems like it'll just be really straightforward, and a lot of it is in plain English put on a character sheet. If you have hope, like as you're building up hope, you can use it to do these really specific things. I like that. I was a little worried it was going to be asking the GM a lot of like, oh, you had another roll with hope. What does that mean for the story? What's the extra bonus? It's like, oh my God, how many things do I have to come up with on every single roll throughout a night's play? So it seems pretty manageable, which is good. All right, so I don't think we need to look into that too much more. Evasion, do we need to look into any of this? Do we even care? Do we care about this? Or do we want to... Ooh, that's some actual cool art. With a cat person. God damn it. I don't like animorphs. I don't like animal people. And there's so many in this rule book. So many tails and cat ears. It's ridiculous. I think we could probably honestly... I mostly just wanted to see the duality dice and get a sense of like what the spotlight was as they were describing. And I guess it'll probably make more sense as I read through the rules a little bit more and understand the flow of play. Right now I'm still a little confused though of how you play the game without any set number of turns. But that's just probably me. Ooh, should we check out countdowns real quick? Countdowns yeah, I'd be interested to see that. And then we could probably jump into a future section, just so we can get through at least everything in this 2 hours. Let's look at countdowns. I'm guessing it's just a timer. Countdowns. Sometimes the GM or a specific mechanic utilizes a countdown. Countdowns are a way of the table to keep track of a coming event, which you do so by setting a die to a certain value, then ticking that number down until it reaches 0. A countdown might tick down every time an action roll is made, every time a PC rolls with fear, during each downtime, or any other parameter, either set by the specific mechanics or by the GM to reflect the fiction. To learn more about countdowns, see the countdown section on page 162. Well, that's what I was here for. Okay, well, let's get to page 162. They got me. They hooked me. I want to know more. This is page 162. Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. 162. Countdown die. When you want to represent the passage of time or events leading to a dramatic climax, such as an impending adversary move or a significant narrative event, you can use your d20 or another die as a countdown die to track that progression. Choose a die with your desired starting value on it and put it on the table with that number facing up. For example, if your starting value is 5, you can use a d6 set to 5 as your countdown die. Each time the countdown ticks down, turn the die to reduce its value by 1. When the countdown ticks down to 1 or ticks down from 1 to 0, which doesn't appear on the die, the countdown ends and triggers the event you were counting down to. Okay, so this is, I need like an example because I know what a timer die is, right? When you're designing a countdown or using one from an adversary stat block, consider 3 elements. Give me an example. Standard countdown. Many adversaries and events use a standard countdown in which the die begins on a specific number and ticks down every time a player makes an action roll regardless of the result. When the countdown reaches 0, the countdown effect triggers. So short countdowns like 2 to 4 rounds. Dynamic. Can I get an example, please? Advanced countdown features. Chase countdowns. Long-term countdowns. Example okay, here we go. Example long-term countdown. Early in the campaign, the party crossed paths with Marius, a Galapa mercenary captain. The group suspected Marius would cause trouble, but pressing matters drew them elsewhere in the kingdom. Meanwhile, Marius makes a deal with an expansionist theocracy to the east, an action the party's seraph may well view with concern because of her past with the theocracy. In exchange for helping the theocrats invade, Marius will be appointed as governor of a prosperous county once the kingdom falls. The GM wants this invasion to ramp up pretty quickly, so they set the countdown starting value at 8, drawing 8 checkboxes as a countdown tracker. Next to each checkbox, the GM plans out story beats that represent the countdown's advancement. So example, at 8, the deal is struck and Marius' company mobilizes. 7, Marius' company raids a border town. 6, the theocracy's troops gather at the border. 5, Marius' company, I wonder what that little star right there means. 5, Marius' company captures a different border town, having misdirected nearby militias. 4, the theocracy's army marches into the kingdom, establishing a beachhead in the captured town. 3, refugees flee the region around the border town, bringing news of the invasion with them to larger settlements. 2, Marius harries the kingdom's army to give the theocracy time to establish supply lines. 1, the theocracy rededicates a temple in the captured town to their god, magnifying their presence or the priest's power in the kingdom. 0, the timer ends. The invasion becomes an all-out war, with Marius's and the theocracy's army executing coordinated strikes to divide the kingdom's defenses. Oh, okay, here's explain a little asterisk. So the GM identifies steps 6 and 3 marked with an asterisk as prime candidates for steps where news would reach the party. This gives the PC at least 2 clear prompts to get involved before the invasion escalates to a full-blown war. Okay, a cool example of a campaign countdown, and that is I could see that being a mechanic that I would actually use. I could see me integrating that into my prep to keep track of some of the big campaign plots and narrative threads that are progressing. Still would like to see some specific examples of minor timers and how they could play out, especially in a game where you're not necessarily taking initiative order. If it's a timer that ticks down with actions, it's one character could just take all 4 actions and then the timer is up and nobody else had an opportunity to do anything to engage with it. But overall, I love to see a system that's dedicating so many pages to timers, or how they call it, a countdown, which might be a better name for it, honestly. A countdown does imply when it hits 0, something big happens, whereas a timer could mean are we timing how long something takes? Are we timing how many rounds it takes for me to get from A to B or whatever. So Countdown, actually, I like Countdown. That's a good name. Foxtrot said, this is basically skill tests, Blade in the Dark, clocks, diminishing pulse. Yeah, it is similar to that. I agree. Although Blades in the Dark was... I feel like Blades of the Dark... You're bringing up an interesting point here, Foxtrot. There are a lot of similarities I'm seeing between this and that game. I think Blades in the Dark, despite not being a very popular system, did forge the path for a lot of mechanics that other games are starting to kind of incorporate into their rules now. So I'll put some respect on their name. Emergency said, how much are you being paid for this? I wish I was being paid anything for this. That would be fantastic. In fact, I have lost money doing this. I spent $60 to buy this rulebook. But that's because I'm excited about it. And if Matt Mercer reached out to me and wanted to pay me to do this, like, hit me up, dude. That'd be sweet. Okay, let's scroll back up to our table of contents, see what other things there are to check out. The countdowns and the hope and the fear dice stuff, that was what I was really interested with in there. So we've looked at characters a bit, checked out one of the classes. We've looked at some of the new mechanics in Chapter 2, playing an adventure. I would be interested to see a little bit more about downtime, because that seems to be more mechanical. Like, there are things you can do during downtime outside of just regain hit points. Like, you have spells and things you can only use during downtime, which is cool. But I'll read that on my own time. Chapter 3. Anything from Chapter 3 we want to check out? Running an adventure. You've got, we don't need the introduction, core guidance, core mechanics. So making gem rolls, calling for action rolls, making moves, fear, setting roll difficulty, advantage, disadvantage, adversary rolls. Oh, wait, was countdowns? Oh, countdowns was more of a running an adventure rule than it was a playing an adventure. But, what did he say? Do we just skip ahead a little bit? Noble Knight said, Blades in the Dark walked so this could run. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Bun Riri said, all I got to offer countdowns is what my GM did for our session, which was an enemy's encroaching where we were trapped between it and a locked door. Yeah, that's a classic one. I use that all the time. Very fun one. Humble Gallopot, the SRD is already out for this game. I'm considering looking into making classes for the game. Yeah, making some content for this would be really cool. Delta Vic. Oh, what's up, Delta Vic? Thanks for jumping in the chat to say there's a short countdown example on page 162. Did I just completely miss it, or is that the one we just looked at? I think that might have been the one we just looked at, actually. The countdown. Let's jump to page 1. Oh, this is slightly... Oh, yeah, we already... Oh, wait, maybe we didn't look at it. We want to move around... I'm not seeing the example you're talking about. Oh, well, what about, is it maybe this activation? What moment in the fiction prompts you to activate the countdown? For example, a countdown might activate when the PCs stealthily enter an enemy camp. Advancement. When does the countdown advance, prompting you to tick down the die by 1? For example, a countdown might advance whenever a PC makes an action roll, or it might advance only on... Yeah, see, these don't even... I wish this almost had built off this example of entering into a stealth camp. I feel like I have enough experience as a DM to kind of get what they're describing here. But if I were totally new, just from the skimming I've done so far, I'd be a little confused. But whatever. Let's go back up to the table of contents and pick our next section. I'll put it up to a poll for you all. Oh, Delta Vic says it's on page 164. Oh, well, okay. Let's keep scrolling back. But Delta Vic, I appreciate you helping me out here. Thank you. You must already have your own copy that you're pretty familiar with then. 164. Okay, this must be the example. A thief has stolen Rune's wizard spellbook, and now the PCs are chasing them across the market square. The GM, Stella, decides on a d6 for the pursuing PC's progress countdown, then sets up the thief's countdown, a consequence countdown, by taking another d6 and setting its starting value at 3, since the thief has a slight head start. The warrior, Tabby, asks to go first, clambering up onto the market stall, tends to run over the top rather than pushing through the crowds. Stella calls for an agility roll against the thief's difficulty of 15. Ooh, the thief's difficulty of 15. Okay, cool. That's a That's a little mechanic or a way to set the DC that maybe is unique to here. How did they determine that? I wonder, I guess monsters must have, do they have their own? I doubt monsters have like experiences the same way that characters do. Maybe, I guess that'll be the next thing we check out is monsters. Anyways, Stella rolls an agility check against a 15, and Elia uses Tabby's second story traveler experience to get a bonus. Quinn spends a hope to help an ally, describing how Shepard channels their affinity with air to boost Tabby up. With the help of Shepard's D6 advantage die, Tabby rolls a success with hope, so Stella ticks the PC's progress countdown from 6 to 4. This represents Tabby gaining on the thief and helping the group catch up by calling out a quicker route through the crowd. Next, Rune wants to take things into his own hands. Using his Book of Sigil grimoire, he describes how he conjures an illusion of a runaway horse charging across the thief's path, forcing them to slow down rather than get trampled. Rune makes a spellcast roll against difficulty 15, but rolls a failure with fear. Stella describes the thief seeing through the illusion at the last moment and ducks through a busy crowd that blocks the party's path. Stella takes the thief's consequence down from 3 to 1 as the thief makes it to far range away from the party. The thief is eluding their sight and in real danger of getting away. If the consequence countdown ticks down one more time, the thief will be gone. So that's interesting. So the thief and the party have their own separate dice that are being ticked down. That's interesting. I'm trying to think, if I were running it, would I have just had it be one dice? The thief will get away in D4 rounds unless you catch up to them. But how do you track if you're gaining on them before the dice hit 0 if you're using one dice? Excuse me. Yeah, okay, that makes sense to use 2. That's cool. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Delta Vic. Hey, 222 Forge, good to see you. That's a familiar name. Got the Kickstarter book yesterday, about to make a video on it now. Can people buy it on your site or late pledge or something? Oh, dude, I appreciate that. Yeah, he's talking about the Doom Stronghold, which is getting shipped out and all that sort of stuff. I'd appreciate that if you're making a video. That would be super cool of you. It is for sale on DriveThruRPG, so you can go snag it there. I don't think I have it for sale on my website yet, admittedly. I got it on DriveThruRPG first because I know more people are going there. No one goes to my website. I don't even use my website. But it also, you can... Is it on Patreon? I actually don't know if it's on Patreon. Quite a few pages and stuff have been on Patreon, but if you want it, yeah, you can get it on a DriveThruRPG. Thanks for asking, 22 Forge. I appreciate that, man. Much love, dude. Anywho. What were we doing? Oh, we were looking at chases, and we got that little example from Delta Vic. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. So I'm going to have to come back, and obviously I'm going to read this whole rulebook in way more detail, but the countdown feature is something I'm really digging. Now we're going to go back to the table of contents and pick our next section. I think that was on page 6. Oh, no. All right, we've looked at Chapter 1. We looked at Chapter 2 very briefly. And honestly, most of that is stuff we kind of already know. Chapter 3 was running the adventure. So we looked at the countdown stuff. I don't know if we need to spend time looking into some of these. Some of this stuff's going to be so similar to what we already do, just with slight tweaks for the rules here, that we could probably skip it a little bit. Chapter 4, adversaries and environments. So we've got using adversaries, choosing adversaries, adversary stat blocks. Okay, I definitely want to check that out. Okay, let's look over some adversaries, and then we'll finish up our stream, because we're getting close to our 2-hour mark. We'll finish up with Chapter 5 and look at some of the other campaign frames, because we spent a big chunk of time on our last stream checking out the Age of Umbra. I want to just skip. I'm just going to look right to some stat blocks, and let's see what we got here. Oh, that's cool. I like that art. That's a fun-looking enemy. Very cool. Let's see. Tier 1. Acid Burrower. Bear. Cave Ogre. Construct. Yeah, I'm just going to scroll for a minute. Kind of the first one that jumps out to me with some really cool art. That's what we'll look at. Deep Root Defender. Giant Rat. Giant Scorpion. Glass Snake. That's cool. Some, like, Bandit Hunter people. Oh, what is this? A Minor Chaos Elemental. That sounds fun. Yeah, let's check that out. Okay, so that's the art for it. Swirling Orb of Chaos. Hey, it's got Church of Doom colors. Pink, yellow, and black. I collabed with them on the creation of this book. So, Minor Chaos Elemental. Tier 1, solo. Oh, it probably means it moves. Oh, interesting. Oh, they've got, like, different So you've got a tier 1 ranged enemy. A knife sniper is something that's best used at range. Skulk. I wonder what a skulk means. Like, So solo probably means it's like a boss monster equivalent. So it's tier 1 solo, a coruscating mass of uncontrollable magic. Motives and tactics. It's confound, destabilize, and transmogrify. Cool. So difficulty 14. That's probably the DC to do most things against it. That sounds like the target mechanic from Index Card RPG. Speaking of Runehammer and Index Card RPG, I've been diving into Crown and Skull. I bought the, or I actually think I got gifted this, which was really nice of him. But I've been flipping through it for a little while, kind of just checking out little things here and there. But what I've been really looking into is his mapless dungeons system that he uses. Just like a way to do modular dungeon generation. If you haven't checked out Runehammer's Crown and Skull, you absolutely should. There's people who've done lots of cool videos on it on YouTube. Anywho, threshold 7 and 14, HP 7. The thresholds, I don't know what that means. And that was on the character sheet too, and it was confusing just looking at it. So I'll have to read up on that. Stress 3, so that probably means it inflicts 3 stress every time something happens. Attack bonus of +3. Warp Blast, it's close ability, and it does 1d12 plus 6 magic damage, I'm guessing. Features. Arcane Form is a passive ability. The elemental is resistant to magic damage. Sickening Flux. It's an action. Mark a HP to force all targets within close range to mark a stress and become vulnerable until their next rest or they clear an HP. Ooh, that's a cool one. So it would go down to 6 HP and now everyone else around it is suddenly way more in greater danger. I feel like that fits the destabilize motivation and tactic. Remake Reality. It's an action. Spend a fear to transform the area within very close range into difficult biome. All targets within this area take 2d6 plus 3 direct magic damage. Ooh, okay, cool. So you would hit them with the Sickening Flux first, make them vulnerable. Then you would Remake Reality, in which case, I don't know what resistant means or vulnerable means in the context of Daggerheart. Doesn't mean they take double damage or something else, but 2d6 plus 3 suddenly becomes double to 4d6 plus 3. That'd be crazy. Magical Reflection is a reaction. Oh, I love when monsters have reactions. Makes them 1,000 times more dynamic and fun and scary to fight. When the elemental takes damage from an attack within close range, deal an amount of damage to the attacker equal to half the damage they dealt. Ooh. So when your champion runs in, your paladin smites them or whatever the equivalent of that ability is in this rule set, they get blasted back by this chaos flux. That's awesome. Last ability has is Momentum. It's another reaction. Ooh, 2 reactions? Hell yeah. When the elemental makes a successful attack against a PC, you gain a fear. Cool. So, obviously this is the very first stat block I've looked at, but the fact that it has 2 reactions on there gives me some confidence in doing a more like free flow style of play where the GM doesn't necessarily have turns, and to use the same word, I'm reacting to what the characters do. You have to have monsters that have a bunch of reactions to be able to keep up with what the players are doing when they're jumping around, taking all sorts of different turns and just following the narrative like they present. But then at the same time, they have normal actions. So maybe a GM can use a fear token to just take a monster action. Maybe that's something they can do. I don't know. But I love the Millionaire Chaos Elemental already. That was a really cool stat block. It's a funny tree ant looking thing. Green oozes. Do they have a dragon on here somewhere? Maybe we'll run into one. You know, I love skeletons. They're one of my favorite low-level enemies. Let's check it out, shall we? But first, what was in the chat real fast? I've seen a couple people waving heads. Oh, we got... Samuel said there's a lot of people in this night. Hi to everyone. Oh, cool. If there are. I don't ever have anything on my screen that tells me how many people there are, because it's a lot easier to just have fun and riff and talk with you all when I'm like, there could be 2 people here, there could be 13 people here, there could be 20 people here. I have no idea. But if there are new people, hello, good to see you. Here, I'm going to even drop a little heart in the chat for you. That's me. Beep, 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 beep. I'm dropping all those for you. And Noble Knight, or not Noble Knight, so 224 said, yeah, man, absolutely. Drive through RPG, cool. I'll let people know. Appreciate it, dude. I'm excited to see the video you put out. That's cool. I don't think I've ever had a video made about something I've done before. So let me know as soon as it drops, and I'll go check it out. And Samael says, oh yes, my favorite part, monsters. Yes, here we are. We are here. And I agree with you, Humble Gallipot. The art for the monsters is very nice, and not a cat ear in sight. Thank God. We've escaped them. Skeleton Knight. It's a tier 1 bruiser, a large armored skeleton with a huge blade. Its motives and tactics are to cut down the living, steal skin, and wreak havoc. Oh, cool. Creepy. Difficulty 13. Threshold 7 and 13. Wonder if the threshold means... Here's my guess. When you roll your damage die, if you roll a 7 or higher, or if you roll lower than a 7, you only do like minor damage. If you roll 7 to 12, you do medium damage. And if you do 13 or higher, you do major damage. That's my guess. Because as we've been skimming through the book, I feel like I've seen things like different tiered damage levels. So that's probably how that works with the thresholds. Anyways, only 5 HP. It has a +2 bonus to its attack with a rusty greatsword that deals 1d10 +2 physical damage, I'm guessing. Its features, it's got a terrifying ability. It's passive. When the knight makes a successful attack, all PCs within close range lose a hope, and you gain a fear. Wow, that's a brutal one. Everyone loses a hope, and you gain a fear? That's nasty. Cut to the bone. An action. Mark a stress to make an attack against all targets within very close range. Targets the knight... Let me start over. Mark a stress to make an attack against all targets within very close range. Targets the knight succeeds against take 1d8 +2 physical damage. Am I crazy, or is that not a sentence? Mark a stress to mark an attack against all targets within very close range. Targets the knight succeeds against take... Yeah, I think that's a typo or something. That's not making any sense. But so it can do 1d8 +2 physical damage and marks a stress. I'm having a brain aneurysm trying to make sense of that. Oh, this is a good one. Dig 2 graves. I love these thematic names for these abilities. That's so cool. Reaction. When the knight is defeated, they make an attack against the target within very close range, prioritizing the creature who killed them. On a success, the target takes 1d4 +8 physical damage and loses 1d4 hope. These are so cool. These are fucking awesome. This is it makes sense. I'm the GM. I was going to say, this is my favorite part of the whole book so far, is all these monsters. They're so sick. All these reactions and these like passive abilities make monsters so dangerous and scary to fight. Oh, hey, that was in one of the art we saw. Patchwork Zombie Hulk. Okay, cool. We should check that out then. It's still only tier 1. Okay, dang. Lots of that. I would think that would at least be tier 2 or something. A towering gestalt of corpses moving as one with torso-sized limbs and fists as large as a grown halfling. Motives and tactics. Absorb corpses, flail, hunger, terrify. Difficulty 13, threshold 8 and 15, so definitely more resilient in terms of marking down its HP. Features, destructible. It's passive. When the zombie takes major or greater damage, they mark an additional HP. Oh, okay, cool. So it's fun to see that there are some features. They're not all good things. Some of the features are their weaknesses, which is really important. Flailing limbs. It's a passive one. When the zombie makes a standard attack, they can attack all targets within very close range. Excellent. Another for the pile. It's an action. When the zombie, the way I just said that, and the way they presented it, it's also giving me Darkest Dungeon vibes, where every time an enemy does their attack, or you pick your attacks from your characters, they have really fun names for them. So, another for the pile. When the zombie is within very close range of a corpse, they can incorporate it into themselves, clearing an HP and a stress. That's so sick. Tormented Screams. It's an action. Mark a stress to cause all PCs within far range to make a presence reaction roll of a DC 13. Targets who fail lose a hope, and you gain a fear for each. Targets who succeed must mark a stress. Okay, so this thing doesn't have as many, like... It really doesn't have any special... like club you, or like with these giant arms. I would think it has an ability to kind of grapple things better. Most of its features are like passive fear-based things, which is still cool. Let's look at one or two more. Ooh, the Flame Skull art is awesome. Oh, it's a Chaos Skull. That's cool. A Battle Box. That's fun. Hellhounds. I want to find the dragon. They've got to be in here somewhere. Minotaur. A War Wizard. Wow, that's a cool looking dude. A Stone Wraith. Adult Flickerfly, fun name. Demon of Avarice, Demon of Despair. Demon of Wrath, we saw that art already. Demon of Hubris. Where the hell are the dragons? There's the Hydra. Here we go. A young ice dragon. Do they have like a red dragon? I'm more interested in that. Are these based off of tiers? Oh yeah, tier 3. Now we're in a tier 4. We've got an arch necromancer, a fallen warlord. Where's our red dragon? Ooh, the Kraken. Very cool. Oh, we should read the Krakens. Why the hell not? Tier 4. Solo monster. A legendary beast of the sea, bigger than the largest galleon with sucker-laden tentacles and a terrifying maw. Its tactics are to consume, crush, drown, and grapple. Difficulty 20, thresholds 35 and 70. Whoa. Wow, those tiers are no joke. So man, there's definitely like a level and a power creep to this game then. Does 4d12 plus 10 physical damage when it hits with its tentacles. Experience. Oh, so some of these monsters do have experiences. I like that. It's funny. The only one it has is swimming, plus 3. But features. Relentless. It's got 3 uses of this, I guess. The Kraken can be spotlighted up to 3 times per GM turn. Up to 3 times per GM turn? Spend fear as usual to spotlight them. So does that mean it can take... Okay, I'm a little confused because I haven't done enough reading into like how play actually works, because it said there isn't initiative order, and so one player can take multiple turns or actions. Can they do that in the same round? I'm confused on that, so I'm not quite sure what it means by the Kraken can be spotlighted up to 3 times per GM turn. I am guessing that is like a multi-attack type of ability sort of thing. But it's also got many tentacles, which is a passive one, while the Kraken has 7 or fewer marked HP that can make their standard attack against 2 targets within range. Well, no, because now that's a different multi-attack thing. Still cool, though. Grapple and Drown. Make an action roll against a target within close range. On a success, mark a stress to grab them with a tentacle and drag them beneath the water. The target is restrained and vulnerable until they break free with a successful strength roll, or the Kraken takes major or greater damage. Oh, that's fun that you can escape grapples just by having damage be dealt to the creature. So even if you've got an ally who's like, oh, I can't, they're flailing, they're drowning, they're at the verge of being dead. If you stab the Kraken in the eye and a bunch of blood spurts out and all of his tentacles writhe, then the person can escape and get up to the surface. That's really fun. I like that. Boiling Blast is an action. You can spend a fear to spew a line of boiling water at any number of targets in a line up to far range. All targets must succeed on an agility reaction roll or take 46 plus 9 physical damage. If a target makes an armor slot to reduce the damage, they must also mark a stress. So I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this like physical damage trait. Why wouldn't this be like fire damage? Because if there's like no difference now between bludgeoning and slashing and piercing and apparently like boiling damage from boiling hot water and someone crushing you over the head with a rock, like I wonder what the damage types are. Because maybe I'm getting lost into like, well, what if certain armors are resistant to certain types of physical damage? Like, that's maybe getting into crunchiness and away from narrative play, which seems to be the focus of the game. Last feature that the Kraken has is momentum. It's a reaction. When the Kraken makes a successful attack against a PC, you gain a fear. Cool. Cool. Where is my red dragon? We've got a volcanic dragon. Maybe is that the equivalent of a red dragon? I actually do like that they aren't red, blue, green, white, whatever. They're themed around their environments. An ice dragon, a volcano dragon. This is another volcano dragon. But that's cool. 55 on Tuesday. Thanks for the super chat. $10. Thanks for the live chat. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a fun one. It sounds like we've had quite a few people tuning in and watching, wanting to learn more about this new rule set, which I'm excited about. And that $10 will go in the pot to help me buy future supplemental content for this game, I'm sure. Anyway, let's look at the Volcanic Dragon real quick and see how that compares. Volcanic Dragon, Tier 4 solo. No enemy has ever had the insolence to wound the dragon, so as the lava settles, it's ground to ash like the dragon's past foes. Wait, what? I'm kind of confused what that was. Is this like a... Oh, it's a volcanic dragon, Ashen Tyrants. Oh, so this rises from a volcanic dragon who's like Whoa, oh, I'm seeing this was like different phases or types or stages of a volcano dragon. That's interesting. That's cool. I wonder if they explain more about how to like design that for yourself if you want to do your own monsters. But its features are Relentless 4. The Ash Tyrant can be spotlighted up to 4 times per GM turn. Spend Fear as usual to spotlight them. I'll have to figure out what that means because the Kraken had the same thing. Cornered. It's passive. Mark a Stress instead of spending a Fear to spotlight the Ashen Tyrant. Not really sure what that means. Injured Wings. Okay, so yeah, these are all things from like it has died, but it's sort of come back from the ash of a volcano. While flying, the Ashen Tyrant gains a +1 bonus to their difficulty. Oh, injured. What? That's interesting. I thought Injured Wings would imply it like can't fly or something anymore, but instead it has a +1 bonus to its difficulty. I guess maybe that means like ash and stuff is just spilling down from its wings, making the air like it suffocates you. Everything's harder to see and stuff like that. That would be cool. Ashes to Ashes. What a great name. Passive. When a PC rolls a failure while within close range to the Ashen Tyrant, they lose a hope and they gain a fear. If the PC can't lose a hope, they must mark an HP. Cool. Desperate Rampage. Mark a Stress to make an attack against all targets within close range. Targets the Ashen Tyrant. Oh, see, it's another one of these like weird ways it's phrased. Targets the Ashen Tyrant. I feel like it needs a comma. That's maybe where I'm getting confused. It feels like it's saying it targets the Ashen Tyrant. End of statement. Succeeds against... Wait, no. What the fuck is this saying? Targets the Ashen Tyrant. Succeeds against... Take 2d20 plus 2 physical damage. Are knocked back to close range of where they were and must mark a stress. I can make sort of sense of what that's trying to say, but dang, that is a really confusing sentence to me. Maybe it's just my streamer brain. Maybe I'm getting confused. Ashen Cloud. You spend a fear to smash the ground and kick up ash within far range. While within the ash cloud, a target has disadvantage on attack rolls. The ash cloud clears the next time an adversary is spotlighted. And Apocalyptic Thrashing. We have a countdown, our first countdown. We haven't seen that yet in a monster stat block. Okay, Apocalyptic Thrashing. Action. Countdown 1d12. Spend a fear to activate. It ticks down when a PC rolls with fear. When it triggers, the Ashen Tyrant thrashes about, causing environmental damage, such as an earthquake, avalanche, or collapsing walls. All targets within far range must make a strength reaction roll. Targets who fail... See, there we go. That's a way that it makes sense. Targets who fail take 2d10 plus 10 physical damage and are restrained by the rubble until they break free with a successful strength roll. Targets who succeed take half damage. If the Ashen Tyrant is defeated whilst this countdown is active, trigger the countdown immediately as the destruction is caused by their death throws. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, incorporating countdowns into monster abilities and monster stat blocks is going to be a ton of fun. That's so sick. Well, the monsters did not disappoint. They are awesome. I'm super pumped to try them out and play a session. We should probably now finish up though, right? We are 5 minutes over the 2-hour mark. We've been streaming forever, and I am so hungry. I'm starving. But we can't end the stream without checking out all of the different sections, right? So let's go back to page 4, and here's how we're going to do this. We're going to do a vote. We're going to look at one of these, and you guys are going to decide which ones we do. Let's check out... We already looked at the Age of Umbra, so we've got... 5 banners burning. That sounds like a cool one. We could do Beast Feast, I know, is one themed around cooking monsters. I don't know if I care about that one. So we're going to do maybe the Witherwild. We could do Motherboard, which is the sci-fi one. Please vote for that one. I would love to see their sci-fi one. Or Colossus of the Drylands, which I don't know anything about that one. Which of the campaign frames are we going to check out? Oh, Greek Ledger is giving me some insight into the sentence I was not understanding. It means rolls the monster succeeds at. The target takes... Oh, so if the monster succeeds on the roll, it does 2d20 plus 2 damage? It still makes grammatical sense. It still makes grammatical sense, but just barely. I'll have to go back and read that again, but I'm sure it's just part of me being... on a stream, like, oh god, I look like a fucking idiot. What does this mean? And then I just choke, but If you say it makes sense, I'll trust you. Let's see. What is our 30? Oh, you guys are too. Oh, I need one more vote for Motherboard. We got to beat out Colossus of the Drylands, please. One more vote. 6 votes total. Motherboard, 33%. Colossus of the Drylands, 30%. No! Oh, you son of a bitch. You guys suck. You guys are changing your freaking votes. Well, fine. We'll look at Colossus of the Drylands, and I'll just look at Motherboard on my own time. Whatever. It's your guys' loss, honestly. You guys are now going to just have to look at this pretty cool thing, actually. All I want to do, real fast, I just want to see the cover art for what Motherboard would have been. Oh, it's kind of cool. Wasn't what I was expecting. It's not as, like, obviously sci-fi. It almost looks sort of industrial with the, like, power cables and stuff. All right, fine. We'll go back to the way cooler looking artwork of this giant Colossus walking through the desert. Okay. So this is familiar to what we've already seen from Age of Umbra, which is what the new campaign is going to be that starts tomorrow night with Session 0. I'm so excited. Colossus of the Drylands, a prosperous region of gunslingers and outlaws, whoa, was not expecting that, has fallen into terror as colossal creatures awaken from beneath the earth. It's a complexity rating of 4. I think Age of Umbra was like complexity 1 or something, and I was like, what does this 1 circle mean? I have no idea. Well, now I know. Well, 1 is way simpler than 4 circles. The pitch. Read this section to your players to introduce them to the campaign. Should I do a little Western accent? The Drylands were a place that put the old stories aside. While superstitious miners have long said that the crystals growing wild in this desert are made from the very life essence of forgotten gods, the folk around here had real work to do, and actual deities were left for campfire stories. That is, until a massive colossus answered the call of something ancient and apocalyptic, rising from the earth and devastating the lands. The bold prospectors, tired laborers, and born-again worshippers in the dusty town of Willen's Gulch were thrown from their routine of industry and exploitation, forced to raise scattered armies and watch them die to the behemoth's strength. And this is only the first of many titanic beasts poised to terrorize the land. In the Colossus of the Drylands campaign, you'll play a heroic posse of mavericks who must save their home from a legion of colossi and primordial god-seeking vengeance. What? I just accidentally opened dictionary on my screen. That sounds cool. Gunslingers and giant colossus was not something I was expecting to be paired together, but I really like it. Like, normally the trope is sort of like gunslingers and... it's either like gunslingers and aliens, gunslingers and demons, or gunslingers and like Cthulhu sort of stuff, but that kind of mixes with demons. This is pretty different. Tone and feel, it's awe-inspiring, dusty, eerie, gritty, larger than life, and terrifying. Themes include breaking cycles, the burdens of heroism, faith versus doubt, greed, ordinary people accomplishing the extraordinary. Yeah, those are themes that I would say are kind of difficult or complex to try and really get to manifest at the table. Mostly, I think, because so much of that is dependent upon the players to lean into these kind of unfamiliar themes. These are not themes that I think a lot of people can easily sort of put themselves in the shoes of and like know what that feels like or know how to bring that feeling to the table through their dialogue and action. So yeah, I'd give it a 4 rating of complexity as well. Touchstones include, I knew it, Shadow of the Colossus. I mean, that art alone, that's like straight up one of the earlier colossi you fight. So I get that. Red Dead Redemption, Deadlands on the Shoulders of Colossus. Cool. That's really, really cool. Okay, whoa, I don't think we're going to read the entire overview. That's just too much. But this is the first time we get to scroll through an entirety of one. So it has the overview, all the lore about this place. Then it gives you some of the communities that the players can explore, which we'd already seen in the Age of Umbra one. So what's after this is going to be new stuff, which hopefully talks about some of the mechanical differences that occur in the setting, because it said that every setting has things that like make it mechanically different. All ancestors are available here, but some have unique aspects. Okay, don't really care about that. All classes are available, but some have aspects that are different. Maybe this is what they're talking about with mechanical differences. Let's just look at druids just for. Well, no, let's look at seraphs. We didn't even check out the seraph. So seraphs in this setting. Many seraphs have strong relationships with their faith, either worshiping the forgotten gods or the new gods. This also affects their relationship with the use of essentia. The former utilize the crystal. Oh, that must be something that is explained earlier in the lore. Essentia is like the mana or something of the setting. The former utilize the crystals prolifically, while the latter may have a fraught relationship with magic. When playing a seraph, players should consider how their character feels about magic, as well as the way their character engages with their faith and with the community. Okay, so not a mechanical difference yet, more of just a lore difference. Ooh, there are trains in this setting. That's cool. It gives you some player principles to play by: embrace the dry lands, face the unstoppable, and navigate your faith. Gives some GM principles like contrast the mundane and the extraordinary, emphasize scope and scale. Distinctions. Use this information to prepare your campaign. You can also share it with your players if you need. Okay. So you've got the Children of God fell. So these are all the different gods they can worship, I'm guessing. Or like major powerful NPCs. Maybe these are some of the like colossi or something. Designing your own colossus. The soul shards. Okay, so none of this has seemed like mechanical yet. This is all still just lore stuff. Oh, here we go. Campaign mechanics. The following mechanics are unique to this campaign. Tools of the trade. From firearms to dynamite, the dry lands communities have developed impressive technology thanks to the Essentia Rush. Oh, cool. Take on a gold rush. Encourage PCs to reflavor any of the standard equipment and loot as something appropriate for the genre. Additionally, they may choose from the following options. So you've got revolvers in the setting. Do D6 plus up to 10 physical damage, one-handed. 6-shot is the feature. Place 6 ammo tokens on your character sheet. Spend 1 ammo token to make an attack. You may mark a stress to regain spent ammo tokens. Cool. You've also got rifles and shotguns. So it's a setting with guns. The lasso. What a fun secondary mechanic. The lasso. Or a small revolver. Small revolver. Consumable. You got dynamite, which is fun. You can light this dynamite and toss it within close range. All creatures within very close range of where the dynamite lands must make a reaction roll of a DC 14. Targets who fail take 1d20 plus 5 physical damage. Targets who succeed must mark a stress. Dynamite deals double damage to inanimate objects or structures. That's cool. Was that it? Oh, that's a cool one. That's really cool. Just like a giant train colossi. That's so sick. All right, well, I mean, because I didn't want to bore you guys with reading through a bunch of lore, and because we're already past the 2 hours, we kind of skimmed through that pretty quickly, I will admit. But I gotta give an honest impression. I am a little disappointed with the mechanical differences, with it only being some like weapons that are added into it. Doesn't sound like a lot of things like really mechanically are any different than they are in other settings. Maybe that's just because we skimmed it and I missed some stuff. Maybe there's more mechanical differences in other settings. I'm not sure, but I'm excited to find out as I keep reading more about this and sharing that stuff with y'all. But I'm starving. I am so hungry, and it's been over 2 hours. We got through basically the whole book. We've skimmed everything. All the major sections that are in the new Daggerheart TTRPG from Critical Role. I'm excited, as I've been saying a million times on this stream and in previous ones, not only for the rule set, but I'm excited for their new campaign. I'm going to be watching it. I think Friday we'll do a stream to sort of talk about Session 0 and the characters and things like that. But that's it for me, guys. I hope you had fun today. Thanks for sticking around for a little bit longer than usual. Not by much, but let me know in the comments of this stream or this video, like, what are some things you'd like me to explore in future streams? Should we come back to look at this even more? Would you like me to make some content for this game? Maybe that's something I could do. There's a million possibilities to be explored, but I'm going to just call it there. Thank you all so much. Go check out the Patreon, support the church, give your tithings, leave a like, all that kinds of things, because we say these things in your unholy names.